Supreme Rice. Since the 1930s, supporting Louisiana farmers and communities throughout Louisiana. To find out more, go to supremerice.com.
Live at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Handegriff.
For some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Rufino's on Highland Road, Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments. Rolls here, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Handegriff along with former Tiger Richard Dixon. Jimmy will be with us a little bit later on in the show after hour number 1. Jordan Kitchen's back in the studio. Max Gottschalk decided to take today off. Can you imagine? Just take the day off.
I've seen him
man.
like one time in the last month.
These young kids, man, I tell you what, you can't get them. Actually, Max is working today. He's just not working with us. So yeah. I don't want to. I'm just giving him a hard time. I know he's out there listening.
He's either working for somebody else or at a wedding.
Good call.
No.
Yeah, he's been at a few of those. He's at that age where he's in a lot of weddings. Okay.
I hope I don't have any more weddings to go to until my kids start getting married.
When your kids start getting married and your kids' friends start getting married, you get to start going to weddings again.
I can be like my dad. Like my mom was always the one that showed up, and Dad was like, "I ain't going."
Right. Yeah. Find out where they're registered. Send them a gravy boat. How'd the Lions? The Lions? Okay. I'm sorry I asked.
I'll take that one on coaching. It was our worst defensive performance. We got beat 30-21.
Did you go to the post game and say we got to coach better?
Yeah, basically. I mean, I got to start teaching fundamentals and getting back to basics. But it was a battle for third place. We've wrapped up the playoffs. We're in the playoffs.
Okay. So you rested your starters.
Yeah. So, we were currently in third. We were playing the fourth place team. We had beaten them earlier in the season. They got revenge on us last night, made some big plays.
All right. So just so you know, the audience is following along with this.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is 7 weeks, right?
We got a bye week. We got a bye week this week, 5-2.
5-2.
We're now 5-3.
Okay.
Bye week, got to get ready. Might practice twice.
2-a-days.
Yeah.
Who's the union rep on your team, man? They might complain a little bit.
My wife might complain a little bit.
You're going to lose that argument, I promise. So I woke up this morning, and I start prepping for the show, and I looked, and the spread's still 2.5. LSU's a small underdog in their own stadium. And then I looked at the standings. LSU's still 5-2. And then I looked at the rankings, and not that it matters, but I looked at the rankings. And top 20 matchup, Tiger Stadium, night. Check the ABC crew, who they're sending. They're sending Fowler and Herbstreit, sending the 18.
Okay.
And I thought to myself, this is a big game, okay? This should be a really big game because LSU's still 5-2, which means the season's not over yet. I mean, is the season over at Notre Dame?
No.
They're 5-2. Season over at Michigan?
Nope.
Nope, they're 5-2. Just as a couple of examples, there are others of 5-2 teams that I don't think Michigan thinks the season is over. They're 5-2. You got a quality opponent coming in, top 5. Okay, those usually get the juices going a little bit. It's Texas A&M. I wouldn't go so far as to call them LSU's biggest rival. Some people would. I know they're not Texas A&M's biggest rival, but it's a pretty long history. I mean, I can remember at least back 40 years on this when they started the 10-year home and home in 86. So there's a history between these teams. There's a little bit of dislike, a little bit of animosity. It's not Texas against Texas A&M, but there's a little bit of animosity there. So I guess I was surprised when I was talking to friends this week and some not friends just posted everything that this is not a big deal. That they already – good friend of mine, knows football. He says, why would I watch on Saturday? I already know what's going to happen. Do you? Huh. Because I've been in this business a minute, and I don't know what's going to happen. No. You played, and do you know what's going to happen? Because if you did, that'd be valuable information. Okay,
I'd give you a lot of money.
Right. You don't know what's going to happen.
No,
and if there's anything this year, I mean any year in college football, if there's anything we ought to know this year, I would have bet, okay, the deed to my house that Penn State was going to beat UCLA. Literally would have bet the deed to my house, okay, if forced, okay.
Yeah.
So pick one game that you got to pick this week. I'd pick, and they lost, okay. And so I thought, well, maybe it's because things are so bad that it's unattainable to turn things around. I've covered LSU teams like that. I was here in '98, okay, where you go past the point of no return. And I thought, well, let me look. No, it's a couple of one-score losses to ranked teams on the road in the league. And it's pretty tough. Texas barely got out of Kentucky last week, and Kentucky's nowhere near as good as Ole Miss and Vanderbilt. And so I thought, wow, do you really know what's going to happen? I am not for 1 second discounting LSU's problems, okay? There's a ton. There's a laundry list. We do 2 hours of this a day. The guy behind me does 2 hours. The guy behind him does 3 hours. The guys in front of me do 2 or 3 hours. I understand LSU's problems. I understand that they are flawed. They got problems, but so does everybody else, just about everybody else. I don't see the dominant team out there. So I thought, hear me out, why don't, instead of thinking that we all know exactly what's going to happen, why don't we treat this like a big game and see what happens? Yeah. And if they get routed, okay, because this is the pushback I got from the people. I said, hey, look, man, why don't we treat this like the top 5 team coming in that it is, and let Tiger Stadium be what it can be, and maybe these kids will rise up and play a great game, and maybe they'll keep the season alive, because 6-2, by the way, season's not over. Yeah. Well, because I know what's going to happen. They're going to go out there, and they're not going to be able to score in the red zone, and the defense is going to give up this many yards, and they're going to lose. Well, if they do, here's my promise to you. You can't make this promise. I promise to get on the air 90 minutes after the game, and you can call me. You're taking the week off. Yeah. 90 minutes after the game, I promise to get on the air and take phone calls, and you can tell me what an idiot I am.
I'm calling
because you should. Because I'm picking LSU to win this game. I'm going to tell you 2.5 hours before I'm due to make my pick. I'm picking LSU in this game. It is not because I think they fixed a whole bunch of stuff. It's not because I think they're going to the playoffs. It's not because I think that all of a sudden there's this football epiphany tomorrow night. But damn it, we spend 9 months out the year, roughly 8.5 months out the year, going, God, college football. Okay, we can't wait for college football. I mean, August, you got people chomping at the bit. Man, I can't wait for college football. And then we bitch when they get into the season and they're playing a 1AA team.
I can't wait for baseball.
I can't. Well, no. I can't wait for conference. And then you get a team that's down in the conference, and you say, well, South Carolina's not as good as we thought. So it's not really big. You wait and wait and wait and wait for these games. A top 5 team in Tiger Stadium, and it's A&M. It's kind of a big deal, and just to throw your hands up in the air because problems, get it. To throw your hands up in the air on a Friday morning and say, I know what's going to happen, and it might rain, so screw it. They're going to lose anyway. I'm just out. Are you out that soon? Look, I'm going to reference 98 again. 98, they went in. They were a top 10 team when they lost to Georgia. They were 3-0. They lost the game by 1 point, and the whole thing spiraled on them after that. It didn't have to. It just did. That hasn't happened yet. They go lose by 20 tomorrow night. Hell, they lose by anything tomorrow night because I don't think they're winning in Tuscaloosa. But I don't know that. That's several weeks away. Let's see what happens. How about?
I mean, so the way I've thought about this game, and I don't know if it was 22 or 23 when LSU was on a run. It looks like that they have a way to fight their way into the playoffs, get the SEC championship. A&M was terrible. I want to say they were maybe 500 at the time, losing. And we go into A&M over in Texas and get our butts whooped with Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
That was a game that A&M fans were probably saying, I don't know. I know what's going to happen.
Right.
LSU's rolling. They're going to come in here and whip our butt. We're terrible. I think that they weren't 5-2. I think their record was way worse than that. And they came in there and they beat LSU's butt. Shoot, was it last year? Marcel Reed. No,
Reed last year.
Okay, so this is one of those things that I've talked to a lot of people that are pissed off like everybody else, don't feel good
You
about
can be
the
mad.
situation.
That's fine.
But they go,
means you care.
this is just the type of game LSU's going to win to get my hopes up for the rest of the season, just to let me down again.
Well, look, if you're going to have I tell people that say that, it's like, then why are you watching? Why are you watching?
Yeah.
Seriously, if this makes you this miserable, if they don't win every game, look, I've been a sports fan all my life. Okay, I'm disappointed when my teams lose. I'm excited when they win. It affects me a lot less than it did when I was a kid. But okay, but never did I say, well, I don't even want to watch, man. No, but that's not true. There have been some Saints teams where I just don't want to watch. But it doesn't mean I'm not. I don't care. But if it makes you miserable, okay,
it's the type of misery. Football is. I mean, I'm going to watch every play, no matter how bad we are.
Because it's ingrained in you.
Yeah, like I'm obsessed with it. I don't care what we look like. I'm gonna get pissed off when we lose, and try not to break anything around the house. But I mean, it is football. It is why you care. It is why it means so much to a lot of people. It's why everybody gets excited on the wins and gets the highs and wears everything, and then they have an excuse to be mad on Mondays when things go wrong.
And I get that the coaches show is at its core, the coaches show every week is kind of a pep rally, okay? And when the team is rolling, it's boisterous and happy, and everybody's pumped up. And when you're losing, it's a little bit more of a muted atmosphere. And when the coach is embattled, it's flat out uncomfortable. But last night, the coaches show Kelly. We got to be more physical. We got to be. It's almost like he's been listening to the show, and the other shows. We got to be more physical. They made a change on the offensive line. We're going to talk about that. You can say today, what the hell took you so long? And that's reasonable, okay? Or you can say, maybe they'll play with a little more physicality tomorrow night. You can be cynical. I understand.
Yeah.
They haven't played physical yet. Why would they start tomorrow? Because sometimes that's just how it happens. I give you the UCLA Bruins, who for 3 weeks looked like roadkill and then rattled off 3 in a row, okay? I'm just telling you, college football is like that, and there are spot games. And like I said, if I'm wrong, Lord knows I've been wrong before, okay? But if I'm wrong, I'll get on the air 90 minutes after the game, and I'll say, I'm an idiot. This team stinks. Go along about your business. But there's a chance they could win, right? Because we've asked all week. We've tried to get some outside eyes on this thing, because even us, you get lost and you hear it so often. Everybody I talk to, this team stinks. The offense stinks. The defense is losing people. The coach has got to go. The most common number I've heard this week is not the 2.5 point spread. It's not any offensive or defensive numbers for Texas A&M. The number I've heard most often this week is 53 million, because that's what the buyout is. Yeah. I mean, we're all bankers these days as football fans. We can't talk about the game. We got to talk about, and we can't even talk about winning or losing. It's about, are we going to fire the coach? It boggles my mind that we're to that point with a 5-2 season, but that's been the primary topic. You got friends that are football fans. What are your friends telling you?
I tell them they're all crazy. They're like, I get, I'm in sales. I work with a lot of Texas A&M people.
That's why you're taking off this week.
No, but for me, I get a lot of people telling me, "Hey, you think this game, we lose this game, he's done?" I'm like, are y'all freaking crazy? Like, to me, nobody. It's all about expectations. This was the year coming into the season. We got the best roster. We got Garrett Nussmeier in year 2. Jaden Daniels in year 2. What'd he do? Joe Burrow in year 2. What'd he do? We got Green back. We got these big receivers. We got Brown. We went and got the Oklahoma kid. And then when you don't live up to expectations, everybody freaks out. But you're a 5-2 team. In 06 with Jamarcus Russell, we started off 3-2. I don't ever remember being this depressing. This many people that upset. And that was with a team with 4 first-rounders. And now, I just think it's because everybody set those expectations high when you win the first game and they're on College game day and they're getting picked, Lee Corso, national champion, and everything just started so high. But, I just feel like you got to chill out. Yeah, I'm going to be mad every Saturday when we lose. And I'm going to be furious, and I'm going to watch the film, and I'm going to talk about the bad things.
That's okay.
But there are good things, too. I'm surprised. We've ran the ball better the last 2 weeks without even fixing the things I'm talking about. There's always things that can change. I think Garrett Nussmeier, I saw what he could do last year. I've seen what he can do in spots. I think he's made some bad decisions, and poor reads, but, something can click for him. He's like, what, I went and put a lot of work in the film room this week and saw something, and it changes. And, he makes a couple changes on a few reads, you get a couple more touchdowns, and that could be the game. So, to me, there's still hope. Everybody's freaking out, but I just tell them, you got $52 million, then shut up.
Let it play out a little bit further. I mean, what do you want to quit on the season on October the 24th? Because all it does is start the thing over again, where you're like, I can't wait till next season. I'd rather let this season play out a little bit more. And it's okay to be disappointed. It's okay to be frustrated. It's okay to be angry. Okay, we've been all of those things. I get it. And I do take some solace in the fact that this place is not unique in that regard. Ohio State last year, when they lost to Michigan, had a reasonable portion of their fan base that wanted Ryan Day fired. Okay, not we're disappointed.
Football fans
fired.
Are crazy. Well, I remember people like later in Saban's career when I don't know if they lost to Ole Miss or somebody, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's just getting too old." Like the Alabama fans would be like, "Well, I think it's past him up. It's time for him to go," and blah blah blah. That's Nick Saban, the greatest to ever freaking do it.
Yeah.
So football fans are just insane people for the most
part.
Yeah. Fanatics.
I remember walking out of Alec Box Stadium in 1996 in the latter part of the season when Alabama had beaten them. And here, games past skip by. Has it now? Okay. So that's my sermon today, if you will, for enjoy the game. Enjoy the atmosphere. Enjoy the fact that this is a big game. And if you're disappointed after the game because they lost, it just means that you care. But rather than I can't get behind there's no hope, because like I said, we've talked to our experts, that most of them in Las Vegas, but some of them from other parts of the country. It's like, what do you think about LSU? Because we get lost in it. We're so close to it. And the thought was, okay, well, they've underachieved a little bit, and they're not as well, but they're not the worst football team in the country, and they're certainly capable of winning in this spot. Making the playoffs, making a run. I can't say all that. But tomorrow, just tomorrow, humor me. Play like LSU's got a chance, rather than this attitude that I've heard from way too many. This is, I don't even want to watch. The hell with it. I'm done.
Yeah,
after two losses. Oh, okay, well, we've got a format now that gives you hope. If it was the old format, I might get it. It's like, well, we're just playing out the string. You don't have to. Is it likely that they're going to make the playoffs? I see the odds. I know. We deal with that every day. All right, enough preaching. Let's do what it is that you will. I'm not trying to tell anybody how to. Maybe I am, but I'm not trying to tell anybody how to feel about it. It's like, hey, go to the game, watch the game, act like they got a chance, because they do.
If you're disappointed in the football team, don't make what people are scared about coming to Tiger Stadium is that fans, the crazy fans, the atmosphere. I mean, all you're doing is damaging the brand.
Yeah,
if you're not not show up.
Make it hard on the opposition. No. Make it tough. We're here at Ruffino's. The restaurant opens at 11 o'clock. On the appetizer features a shrimp cocktail, always one of the populars. Seafood au gratin, that's a creamy seafood dip with Creole spices and jumbo lump blue crab. Wagyu steak, the 12-ounce Denver steak, mashed potatoes, sauteed green beans. Got a nice red wine pairing with that, the Bonanza, and the halibut. Jimmy's going to love that. Grilled Gulf shrimp, grilled Gulf halibut, preserved with lemon and asparagus risotto. And the dessert feature today, the mixed berry tiramisu. Barry, the bartender, ready to serve with a smile on his face. Come on by and see us at Ruffino's here on Highland Road. Live at lunch, Live of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch. It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And return here at Ruffino's. Today's show is also brought to you by Total Maintenance, AC and Heating, Generators, Electricity, Plumbing. Total Maintenance, your one-stop sales and service shop for all of these needs. One of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC and heating companies since 1980. Slogan has been service today, every day. You call today, you get service today. Nobody's got to go to sleep uncomfortable. And right now is a great time as we're heading into the winter months to get your heaters checked. They can handle that for you at Total Maintenance, a authorized dealer for Carrier, American Standard, Daycan, Equipment and Ream units, Generac and Cummings generators for all your electrical and plumbing needs as well. In Baton Rouge, 480-1000. In New Orleans, 841-3300. Service today, every day at Total Maintenance. Let's talk about what we saw on the film this week. Handycast Film Study is up right now on YouTube if you want to check it out. What were some of the things that stood out to you about the Vanderbilt film?
It's just some of the things that have frustrated me all year with some of the offensive line, just technique and just some of the basic stuff that they work or should be working in individual drill every day. It's foot placement on bags, it's hat placement on zone reads, it's hands firing off, and you shooting the hands from the inside and not wrapping around the outside. There's just a lot of small technical things that could make things better. I'm not saying that you're all of a sudden going to be the best run blocker out there, but you're going to slow them down, get in their way, and just by technique, be in a better spot.
One of the things we've been asking for several weeks now, Karius Kern is going to get the start tomorrow at left tackle. Now, this is not exactly where we envisioned him playing, but it is getting him into the starting lineup. I've been a big Kern fan. I know you have. I was a Cohen Eccles fan back in camp. I kind of like they seem to have made that decision over at the left guard. So now I got two guys on the left side that, in my opinion, are two of the more physical players that they've got, since that seems to be the word of the day. What are you expecting? What are you hoping for? Because for Kern to go in on 45 minutes notice against Ole Miss and at right tackle, I thought he held his own. I thought he did okay, made some mistakes. But now you're talking about something he's known about all week. Kelly announced it yesterday, and this is left tackle. This is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I think there's going to be good plays and bad plays, just like any other game. He's a young guy. The thing that concerns me is the amount of rotation and changing thing up. The biggest problem we've had is our combination blocks and being on the same page as one another. And now you're putting two guys that I guess this probably was their first week practicing together at those spots. Can they do it? Yeah, and I think they're the most physical. I think they're going to have plays where we go back and look at, and they blew up that side of the line. I think we're going to have plays you go back and look at, and one of them or the other, got the wrong call or got the wrong play or wrong steps and let up some big plays. So I'm excited for it. Kern is a guy that they both fire off the ball. I mean, Eccles last week was firing off the ball almost to his detriment at some point because he just had that in his mind to fire off, and we saw the big play that got busted in the backfield where he just fires off the ball, they swim him, and he falls on his face. But it's the guys that are going out there trying to hurt somebody. I think in a game like this where 98% chance of rain. I mean, usually means you got to run the ball and you got to develop a run game. I think it's something that they can get done, and I'm excited at least to watch them.
Eccles, Kern, Donovan Green. Okay, you line it up on the left side. Okay, Eccles wasn't a starter at the beginning of the season. Neither was Kern. Neither was Green. But for me, halfway through the season, that's three of the most physical run blockers that you've got. How about line it up and run behind those guys and just say, you know what, let's keep it simple. Right on the left side, we're running behind these guys.
Yeah, I mean, we've tried to stick with a pass-catching tight end. And look, Tre'Davious Green, I like him on a backside cutoff. He is not scared. He's going to come flying in there, throw his hat in.
He's a wide receiver anyway, you told me.
He is, but he's not a scared one. Okay. He comes in there trying to hit somebody. So, I'm good with that. Bauer Sharp has really, really, really struggled to get any type of blocking going. Back when I was playing, especially my freshman year and when I was younger, I Keith Zinger. If it was a major run play, I mean, Keith played in the NFL for 5-6 years and was very athletic, could catch the ball, but he was a stud at blocking. And so, we had two tight ends and we used them that way. I think Donovan Green needs more playing time. I think he needs to be more consistent in there. And especially when you're trying to get a run game going, I would do it with a Donovan Green and Tre'Davious Green at the wing, or if you're going to run it too tight. That's where I feel like you could get a little bit more success going.
Mike Elko is an excellent defensive mind, and he took over about a month ago calling the defensive signals for Texas A&M. If you're Mike Elko and you know that you've got a freshman making his first start at left tackle, what are you doing to try
pressure? He's going to have guys.
But what kind of pressure?
You're going to do like you see a lot of like the heavy shifts, guys flying down, stopping. They're going to try to get in his head. I mean, I got one offside call my entire career is my freshman season at Tennessee on the road, and the whole defensive line shifts, and I come flying out my stance just because I'm on edge. They're going to do a lot of things, walking guys up, mug, backing out, trying to make him think as much as he can while, the play's rolling.
One of the things that's given LSU problems a lot of the season is the twist stunts. Vanderbilt kind of did a little bit of a variation on that. They went with some delayed twist stunts. And how did LSU handle that?
Not very well. We started picking it up recently. I mean, we should. Everybody's been doing it, and that's what I'm talking about, like guard center, guard tackle, passing off the twist, and being on the same page. You talk about the offensive line. You want the same level of pad level. Everybody wants to keep it even. You want to keep a straight line across the front. Well, what they started doing with the delay, and it was with Eccles in there as younger, he's going off to block that defensive tackle, and the defensive tackle's really, letting him get to him, so that way the tackle gets deep, the guard gets up, and then when they do the front, they're knocking each other off. They can't get there. So, for Eccles, he's got to understand that not every block's an easy block. Usually when they're doing that, you still need to get your depth, stay in gear with the offensive line, and that way to make it easier to pass off.
And while I do think they've got the right personnel in there, I am concerned about the lack of time that Eccles and Kern have playing next to each other. I mean, these are two young players. They've played some in general, but next to each other, they haven't played at all. You've talked so many times about how you and Saron Black really developed a chemistry to where you guys knew each other's moves. You knew without having to make calls. Well, these two guys don't have the benefit of that time together. We're talking about just a few days of practice. So how bad of a...
Well, they're lucky it's at home. You can hear each other at home. Typically, you can talk. I'm listening to the center. I'm leaning over. The guard's going to get it. I'm going to lean back over. We're going to communicate. Nussmeier has to run the count, get the play in early. That way that everybody has time to communicate. Where this is a problem, if we do what we've done a lot of the times where we're getting the play call in with 8 seconds and we're getting up there and we're trying to hurry, that's when these guys are going to make mistakes. If we get the play call in early, 15, 20 seconds on the play clock where the offensive line can all communicate, they can talk to each other, they can get on the same page, I think that's best for a young offensive line.
I'll put some of that on Nussmeier. I'll put some of that upstairs too.
Yeah, both of them.
They got to get the play in on time. We're brought to you by the Morris Insurance Group. My man Buzzy Heidel and the guys over at the Morris Insurance Group, 201-0007. If you've got a hunting camp, you got a fishing camp, you got coastal property that this is a little bit difficult to find insurance. Look again. Check out the Morris Insurance Group. They may have a better policy for you. They may have a better rate for you. You can get a quote at morris-ig.com. Your boats, your trailers, your RVs, your motorcycles, your tractors, all of these items that are not necessarily common items, but you need insurance on them. Check with the Morris Insurance Group for auto, homeowners, and commercial insurance as well. Morris-ig.com, and the phone number is 225-201-0007. Live at Rufino's. Lock of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And we're also brought to you by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Do you hurt? Are you hurting somewhere? You got back pain, you got neck pain, you got muscle soreness, you got things that are keeping you from getting a good night's sleep or maybe from getting around as well as you'd like to. Let Dr. Michael Goff and his staff get you to feeling better. That's as simple as I can put it because they've done it a number of times for our family, whether you need to get into a program of exercises and stretches that will loosen some things up in your back and your neck, or if you need dry needling or electric nerve stimulation, cryo, ultrasound therapy, any kind of adjustment to get you to feeling better, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers can help you out. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway, near Drusilla, Dr. Michael Goff, and Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Speaking of feeling better, see what I did there to segue. Garrett Nussmeier looked like he was feeling better last week, at least from an arm strength standpoint. What did you see on the film?
Yeah, I think he's back to normal. I don't think it's injuries or anything that's holding him back at this point. I think it's just, I don't know how much practice he missed. And something seems a little bit off. I don't feel like he's got the timing down with the receivers he's used to. I think he just got to get back in a rhythm and just start playing again.
I don't have any – I was fooled before. I was fooled after the Southeastern game. I thought, well, he threw the ball pretty well there. And then he came back, and he didn't. I feel like having watched him against Vandy, I feel like the arm strength was there. I didn't feel like that there was any restriction on how accurate or how much velocity he had on the ball. I thought that was all back. Does it regress like it did after the Southeastern game? I can't tell you a week later, but last week I thought that was there. But you bring up a point. It's not the velocity or his pain tolerance now as it is. How many reps have you missed?
Yeah.
I don't know how many practices he missed, but I think that there was a number of practices that he went to where he didn't throw.
Yeah.
Which is essentially the same thing for our discussion here. So what's reasonable to expect from him? He's had a couple of weeks now. He's back into it. Aaron Anderson should be back a week healthier. He played a little bit last week. Do you think that he's – I know he took some shots last week.
He took a lot of shots.
And he's going to have to – look, the offensive line is what it is, even though they made some changes. But what's realistic to expect from him tomorrow?
Yeah. He's got to get confident throwing the ball over the middle again. When he's really good and when Aaron Anderson is rolling, it's on those deep crossing routes, jig routes across the middle where he's crossing, the center of the field. And I think that, that's where most of his big plays are. If you listen to the morning show, they were talking about it. They only attempted one ball or only had one catch over 5 yards across the middle of the field against Vandy. And that is where you can attack these guys. And that's when Nussmeier's at his best. You go back to the Ole Miss game last year. He hit Aaron Anderson on a crosser going across the middle, anticipation throw. They got to get back to those where they're feeling good, feeling confident. And at that point, they can really stretch the defense out.
Let's talk about the other quarterback, Marcel Reed. He turned his whole game around last year when he came in the third quarter. His legs made a huge difference. Nussmeier had a good first half, had a really rough second half. Connor Wegman didn't do much in the first half. They brought Reed in. Well, we know how that turned out. I think he's better this year as a passer. He's made some progress there. He's still a dangerous runner. Let's talk about what breakdowns LSU had last week against Diego Pavia that just simply cannot happen this week if they're going to win this game.
His launch points. I mean, we took a lot of bad angles on our blitzes. We lost contain. I thought that we got after him. And when I go back and watch that film, it really frustrates me because the defense is so close to making so many plays where, half of those third downs, in fact, we had them in the backfield. We took a bad angle or, we had a bad target.
We want to give Pavia credit. I mean, the kid's a really good player.
But we had some really good plays called in timely situations that we failed. I mean, he made the play, but, if we take an upfield angle and force him into the, to step up, maybe those plays don't happen. This is a game that, I think Reed's a faster, a little bit more athletic runner than Pavia. Pavia is really crafty. But this is a game where I don't know if I want to blitz all that much. You go back to, their only ranked win against Notre Dame. Marcel Reed, I think, was 45% completion, like 17 of 30-something or whatever it was. He hit some big plays. He threw for over 300 yards. But he's a guy that that's the best team they've played. I think we have the best secondary that they're going to see. I think our guys play well. I would be more keep him in the pocket. Don't let him escape and make big plays.
Your number is accurate. He completed 45.9% of his passes in that game, but it was for 360
hit some really
yards.
Big plays.
Yeah, they had an 86-yard touchdown in that game. He did throw the one interception there. The breakdown last week, and LSU's defense has not had a lot of big breakdowns. I mean, you could probably count them on one hand where they've had a coverage bust or something, a really bad execution or whatever. But they had one last week where Pavia's first touchdown, where he goes up the middle, and it's like, the communications got screwed up there because three players went to the outside to cover the receiver, and nobody stayed in that defensive middle.
Well, then it made the backside catch up for the front side. The front side all flies with the jet sweep. You got, I want to say it was Halsey and Keys, all of a sudden see the tight end and running back running free. They fly over. We basically vacate the left side of the field, and Pavia walks it in.
With the loss of Whit Weeks, and he's not going to play tomorrow, what has that meant for everybody else's responsibility assignments in here with him out?
They got to be assignment, sound. I was wrong. I guess Perkins has had the green dot.
He's had the green dot, but I don't know that he's been calling all the defenses.
Yeah.
I think Weeks was calling the defense, but Perkins had the green dot. But I
They
don't
gotta
know. I'm
clean
not
up.
inside the helmet, so I can't tell you that for sure.
They got to clean that up because I'd say, this team's been pretty assignment sound, like you said previously. I would say 80% of their mistakes or where they got in the wrong formations or blown coverages were against Vanderbilt. I mean, that was the one game when I watched the film that they had multiple of them that stood out.
So when you look at this A&M run game with Le'Veon Moss out, you catch a break there. You got an opportunity to make Texas A&M. I don't want to say one-dimensional because I think that Reuben Owens is a nice player. The other running back that's taken over for him, I don't think he's as good as Moss was. But so much of what scares you about the A&M attack is Reed running the football. So when you're trying to make A&M somewhat run-dimensional, you want to make Reed throw the football. He's having a much better year throwing the football than he did a year ago, and he beat you a year ago. But being able to stop the rest of the A&M run game. That's something that I feel okay about LSU's ability to do.
You got to get back to playing your 111th, what I thought we did really good. That Vanderbilt game, I think that the guys got in their head. It's the first game I watched where I felt like guys were doing too much. Guys were coming out of their assignments trying to make the plays. I saw multiple times that, Perkins was in coverage, but he saw Pavia start to leak out, and he thought that he might scramble, and he took off and left a guy. So it's getting back to your basics. Do your job, play your role, and make them make plays.
You know how many yards he had last year against LSU?
It wasn't a lot. It felt like it was all inside the 20 that he scrambled.
It's 62, which in my head it felt like 162. He scored 3 touchdowns.
But it was, if you go back to it, he comes in, he scrambles inside the 20. We throw 2 interceptions on the short side of the field, and he made his work from there. The interceptions that we had last year, there was 2 of them, gave him a short field, and he scored touchdowns on
Auburn got to him. Now, the Auburn defensive front is very good. They sacked him 4 times. LSU has not gotten very many sacks this year. I think that they put decent pressure on the quarterback at times, but they have not gotten him on the ground. Auburn did a good job.
When you go back, what game was it? Lenore Sellers. I felt like we could have had 15 sacks, and we let guys slip out. You go back to Vanderbilt. We were there that could have had probably 5 to 7 sacks, and then we let them slip out. It's just getting out there and finishing the play.
Okay. Now put your psychologist hat on. If we've heard it all week about this game, certainly the players are not immune to that. What do you think's going? I know you don't know, impossible to know, but just what do you think their mentality is after coming off that game? You're coming home, you got this game, and there's a whole lot of what we talked about at the top of the show, which is, we don't think that they can win.
Well, they hear some things. Nobody feels worse than them. They heard worse from the coaches than anybody's talked about them on the radio. They get in their head and more personal about each individual, what they did wrong, what they could have done, how they could have been better. I go back to when I was playing. Y'all were still in this industry. I'd never heard y'all's name before. I just didn't pay attention.
That was a good thing.
Yeah, we didn't hear it.
Thanks for listening as soon as you got out of school.
Once I got out, I wanted to know everything that's going on. But football really is, you get down on it, and there's bad apples. That's the thing is, for the most part, most everybody kind of zones back in and wants to prove everybody wrong, wants to go tell them, make all these people look stupid, go out there and try to prove it. Every once in a while, you got some bad apples who let that negativity sink in, and you got to shut that down quick. Those are the players that I remember, coming home from a loss and having a team meeting, and a guy starting, why are we doing this, and walking out the field. Get off the field. We don't want you here. I'm not saying they got this on this team, but when you're talking about negativity creeping in, it usually starts with a couple of bad apples, and you just got to nip that in the butt quick.
Leadership.
Yeah.
There's got to be some leadership somewhere in there. Rich, you have, I'm making fun, but you got a family obligation on Saturday, so you're going to miss post game, but you'll be back next week for film study on Tuesday. So enjoy your weekend. I hope you don't get mad during your daughter's presentation that, did the football score screws you up? How's that?
It will be on my phone. I will be keeping up. and there's a good chance I might call in.
Okay, well, we'll let you watch the film on Sunday in peace. Thanks a lot. We'll take a break. We are here at Ruffino's. We are also brought to you by Coastal Capital Advisors. CoastalCapitalADV.com. Philip Fontenot and his staff have done a wonderful job for our family. When you're talking about retirement, your situation is unique. Where you are in life, what your income level is, what your age is, what you are hoping to accomplish in retirement for your entire family. They'll sit down, they get to know you a little bit, they'll figure out what your goals are, and they'll help you get there. Lord knows that's what they've done for us, and I couldn't be more appreciative. Build that lifetime relationship with the staff at Coastal Capital Advisors. Go to Coastal Capital ADV to schedule a consultation. They'd be delighted to hear from you. CoastalCapitalADV.com. Member FINRA SIPC. We'll take a break. Live at lunch here at Ruffino's 104.5.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And return here at Ruffino's. We're joined by Hugh Freeze. No, not that Hugh Freeze. This guy's not looking for a vote of confidence from an athletic director. Hugh Freeze, the owner-operator at the Little Village Restaurant, and part of the Louisiana Restaurant Association, is putting on Oktoberfest this Sunday. Hugh, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Charles.
You're not catching any grief about Auburn's problems, right?
All the time. All the time. Trust me.
Talk about unintended consequences. That's not your fault. Hey, look, this is a great event coming up on Sunday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Oktoberfest. Tell everybody a little bit about what's going to happen.
So, Louisiana Restaurant Association, this is one of our biggest fundraising events of the year. It's this Sunday, 3 to 6 at Live Oak at Cedar Lodge. Beautiful property off of Jefferson Highway over there. It's a big deal for us. It's local food. Local restaurants, supporting the our education program, which is what we raise money for. ProStart is one of the biggest receivers of those funds, and it teaches high school kids, get them into the hospitality business, whether it's culinary arts or just hospitality in general, and it's providing a future for our industry.
How do people get tickets, and what can they expect when they come out on Sunday?
So when you come out, like I said, local restaurants, local beers, local craft breweries. They're going to have band. Pants Party is going to be playing, so nice. Live music. To get tickets, you can go to LRA. Let me see the website here. LRA.org or Eventbrite has the tickets also. So get them online. They're $50 a person. It's all 21 and up. So great food, great people.
You get to go out, you get to eat, you get to drink, you get to listen to music. The weather's going to be good. Rain will
it's covered
rain
anyway.
Will be gone by that
regardless.
time, and it beats watching the Saints. So the event is starting at 3 o'clock. How long have you guys been at this? This is the fourth year, I believe. So great time to come on out and enjoy. This is kind of a South Louisiana. We've all heard about Oktoberfest, a big Oktoberfest. This is our own local version of this.
This is our Louisiana version of the Oktoberfest. So.
All right, Eventbrite and
LRA.org.
LRA.org, man. Looking forward to it. We're going to be working, but get on out to Oktoberfest on Sunday.
On Sunday, come on out.
See what you can do about Auburn's offense, huh?
I don't know about that.
You need a quarterbacks coach. Hugh Freeze with the Little Village and Louisiana Restaurant Association. We're back with hour number 2. Log of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments from Ruffino's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
And we return here at Ruffino's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments. Come on out and see us today. Chef's got a great lunch menu today. Get the halibut for you.
Oh, that's me, huh?
Yeah, I knew as soon as I saw that.
Man, I love fresh fish, man, and because it's hard to get. It's hard to get, and so it's one of my favorites. So the halibut, with the grilled Gulf shrimp with the preserved lemon and asparagus risotto. Suggested wine pairing, always fish and chicken. Go with the whites of the Pejus Chardonnay out of Napa Valley. So how about the Wagyu steak, though? Might come back for dinner.
Yeah.
Might do a little day-night doubleheader here
Right.
in the spirit of the World Series today. Wagyu steak, 12-ounce Denver steak, mashed potatoes, sauteed green beans with a red wine reduction. Suggested wine pairing is a Bonanza Cabernet out of Fairfield. Appetizer features today here at Ruffino's is the shrimp cocktail with the Meliton slaw. The cocktail is not Merliton. Well, I say it like my grandmother. So when it was raining, she said, "Ooh, it's thundering outside." So she's a true Cajun. Meliton slaw with the cocktail sauce. The seafood au gratin is another one of our appetizer features today with the creamy seafood dip, seasoned with the Trinity and Creole spices. Charlie, Trinity,
bell peppers, onions, and celery.
There we go, Charlie.
Like
Jumbo lump blue crab with the gyoza chips as well. A dessert feature mixed. Oh, yeah, chef. Come on, Patrick. Good job. Hey, mixed berry tiramisu. Hello. The chantilly cream amaretto soaked ladyfingers. You know that chantilly cake? So at Whole Foods, it's called chantilly. At Rouse's New Orleans, it's called gentilly. Did you notice that?
I didn't. Every time I hear it, I think of the song Chantilly Lace.
Yes, but Chili Gentilly, where one of my favorite Mardi Gras events is called the Crew of Drew, Dreux. It's a, I don't know, it's a little bit of a New Orleans white trash biker kind of off the script festival. It is beautiful, the Saturday of Endymion. But anyway, Gentilly, I don't know, just kind of like it. It's really good. So we're doing a mixed berry tiramisu. How about that? It's one of the cakes you eat and you eat it and this is the lightest cake I've ever eaten. It is so light, full of berries. It's really good. It's one of my favorites. So anyway, there you go, Charlie. I digress.
Did you run into Hester this morning?
I did not.
He's doing his
How's he doing?
He's doing his happy dance with his Chargers.
Well, they look like they had a sort of a little new energy. Well, for a line of scrimmage coach like Jim Harbaugh to get, and that was the easiest prop bet I ever had. And it was like a plus 260. We got it early. Joe Alt taken by the Chargers first.
Yeah.
I mean, outstanding offensive lineman out of Notre Dame. Charlie, this is a guy that was a line of scrimmage coach and went multiple tight end sets, 2 and 3 tight end sets at Stanford when he had Andrew Luck. I mean, wait a minute. I'm going to get the Lock, a generational, and he was thought of as a generational coordinator. Lock, number 1 overall pick, deservedly so. I mean, career cut short. That was kind of odd, but still. I mean, you had to do it over again. Would you not take him number 1? Of course we
Absolutely.
would. Huh? Yeah. Okay. So, and he doesn't showcase him at a place like Stanford. That wasn't there. It was more, we're going to run the ball and stop the run. And boy, did he make a difference last night because they ran the ball and they stopped the run. And it was just, they were gashing him, man. Vidal was a nice little back. Okay, he's better than expected. But the push they were getting, completely different look. Herbert gets hit less because he can hand the ball off and throw the ball less. So it's, okay now. All right, we're going to see about these Chargers now.
This is what I thought after the game last night. That the day that Jim Harbaugh hangs up his headsets, he'll look back and he'll say, what were the more pleasing games of your career? Okay, where did things go exactly the way you planned them? This game's going to be up there. Because if you ask Jim Harbaugh how he wants to coach a football game, he will tell you we will be run-based. They ran the ball 43 times for over 200 yards last night with 2 pretty nondescript backs. Vidal is a nice player, but 2 weeks ago, before Amari and Hampton got hurt, nobody had ever heard of him, and he wasn't even expected to take over. It was supposed to be Hassan. And Jared Patterson, who they promoted from the practice squad yesterday because Hassan couldn't go, they get over 200 yards. Then my quarterback will be very efficient, completed 72% of his passes, but it will be down the field, 9.1 yard average, 3 touchdowns. He did have the 1 pick and should have had a second, got away with one. I thought it was a huge play early in the game. We'll do that. And then on the other side, we will suffocate the opponent's running game. Minnesota could not run the ball at all, 34 yards on the ground. And then we will frustrate and pressure the quarterback into some mistakes, which they did with Carson Wentz, and they ended up knocking him out the game, and they win the game by 4 touchdowns. That is as write it up on the board. This is what we want to do. That is what they would do. And with the exception of the Herbert interception, which was deep in their own territory, that was a mistake. And the one at the beginning, Jimmy, which I thought really swung all of the early momentum, it would have been a pick six. And watching it live, I thought it was a pick six.
It was contact made.
They look at the
although it was unintentional, it was still contact made, right?
No. It was the ball hit the ground.
It hit the ground. Okay, because it was
a little bit of a
contact made
bobble.
too. Okay,
it was a little bit of a bobble.
Okay,
so
I was in transit at that time.
They go incomplete. But watching it live, I thought it was a pick six, and I'm like, wow, you're going to start in this kind of hole. And of course, they waved that off. And instead of the pick six and starting out down 7-0, the Chargers go on I think it was a 13-play drive. They get the touchdown. They seize all of the early momentum and control of the game. So. It wasn't for a championship or anything like that, like the Michigan year, but I think that this was Jim Harbaugh's as close as you can get to perfect game in the NFL.
Yeah,
because it's hard to win a game by 4 touchdowns against what is I think a good, not great Minnesota team. I think they're missing a quarterback, but that's a talented team, and you just beat the stew out of them.
McCarthy's healthy enough to play. He's not 100%, so they don't want to. They're a little bit worried about damaging him, mentally early. That's obvious. But this is it's at the point now. Okay, now you got to actually get ready. You start next game. I'd be shocked. We've seen enough of Wentz, and Wentz got banged around pretty good. But no, these games don't exist a whole lot in the NFL. Where, all right, we're just going to sit on the lead. No, when they sat on the lead, they were just punishing them more.
Yeah.
It just extended. And so, no, we run the ball about 2-1, run the pass, because Herbert's been getting killed because they've had no running game, and they lost both of their tackles. And so Alt was they thought he was coming back last week. He didn't. It wasn't the offense's fault. And, look, when you're down – double, 2 scores immediately for the entire game against the Colts because the Colts went up and down the field, special teams, touchdowns, the whole thing. They threw it every down. They got out of what they want to do, but you were forced to. This is going to extend. It's going to keep your quarterback upright because he was on his way to get knocked out at one point. He's a freak athlete. He's a big guy with a great arm, with a lot of speed. He's as good of an athlete as there is who can throw the ball as well. Just kind of makes you want a little bit more out of him. Where he is, his numbers in the first 3 quarters compared to the fourth are completely different. But it was snoozer. We'll take it.
He had some
with
key
the Chargers.
runs.
We like a rocket chair every now and then, Charlie.
He had some key runs last night without getting hit. It's some key times where he took off.
Kind of important, yeah.
Yeah, and didn't get hit. No, that's as complete a game as you will get. Yes, we will take the rocking chair.
Don't you think there's reason if Hester's doing backflips? Don't you think there's reason? Okay, we got our tackle back. Now we can be what our coach wants to be, and that's the thing. Harbaugh is he's got to have his linemen. He's got to have his linemen. This is where year 1 they made a big improvement, but year 2 he's just going to get more of his. You talk about one of his more satisfying games. I know that one is going to be at the top of the list.
Going to be Pete Carroll?
Which time?
At Stanford when he was a 42-point underdog?
The one where Pete Carroll was whining how he ran it up on
him. Okay.
With Toby Gerhardt.
Yeah.
No, I think he's a little different, fair to say.
Yes.
Okay. I think he liked that one a little bit more. Yeah, 42 points. Yeah, that's historic. Yeah. No, when he's got that guy in that era at USC whining, you ran it up on me? Yeah, I think he's, so.
Pretty good for the Chargers last night. We got a huge college football weekend as always. So we got a lot to get to. All of our experts are coming in with their picks later today. So we got a lot to do. Let's get to it.
Yeah, let's take a time out again. We went through the Ruffino's features again. This is an addition. Look, it's a Friday night before a night game in Tiger Stadium. Ruffino's is full of energy, full of life, as we talk about a celebration of life over here at Ruffino's. So. Man, it's going to be popping over here, and Chef Patrick, who's done a great job. The one thing about Chef Patrick too, for a a white linen tablecloth restaurant, kind of it's a nice restaurant with ultimate service and things like that. Their portions are generous. It is a lot of food. You're not going to skimp on it. Shrimp cocktail, seafood au gratin to start off, Wagyu steak and a halibut for entree features, the mixed berry tiramisu, and how about little beverage features also? Cocoa martini, the Tito's vodka creme de coco dark with the egg white and cocoa powder, raspberry limonada, Tito's vodka chambord prosecco with a lemon sorbet. So just some of the things that we have over here at the newly renovated, remodeled bar that looks so good over here at Ruffino's.
Lock of the Week Friday presented by Texas Morris. Edward Jones Investments from Ruffino's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Ruffino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lock of the Week. Well, I tell you what, Mazzaro, we're getting you on a little early because we want to report, man. Give us a Nashville report. I mean, your beloved New England Patriots, they finish off the 3-game road sweep. That's unusual just to have 3 games in a row on the road. They even fallen behind early against the lowly Titans. But you were at probably the most lively, Charlie, what you think? Probably one of the best atmospheres for the Vanderbilt game.
I can't think of any other than the Auburn game.
Chris.
It was exciting. I mean, we were all rooting for Vanderbilt because we figured, hey, we're in their town, let's root for Vanderbilt. But we ended up in the LSU section. We met a few people who knew you guys, and there was some barbs thrown back and forth. But overall, a really exciting time. I love that they had. If you go to a college football game in the Northeast, say you're at like Boston College, Syracuse, the tailgate is very, very subtle. You can't drink in the stadium. You got to Vanderbilt. I mean, they had every single option possible. The problem is they built the stadium out a little extra with all the new renovations, but they kept the concourse the same size. So that's a little bit of an issue. But perfect weather. Great time. We started our tailgate at 7:15 in the morning for an 11 a.m. game, and we just had a blast. It was awesome. Fantastic time.
Now we have to be a little bit of SEC snobs and say it's still not a real SEC environment. Like even Auburn with 0-3 against Missouri on Saturday. That place was popping, Jack. I mean, it was pop. Alabama against Tennessee. LSU expected if the rain holds out tomorrow night against A&M. We'll get you into one of the bigger venues. We'll give you throw you a little appetizer. That's fine. But we'll get you in a big one eventually as well. But also watching this historic Vanderbilt team and this historic quarterback, Chris, This is Cam Newton one year, Danny Werfel, me and Charlie were on the sideline. He just killed LSU. We're talking about some of the most, maybe top 5 best quarterback performances against an LSU team. But, how often do we hear, Coach, well, we just need to execute. We just execute. Can Vanderbilt execute any better with this guy pulling a trigger in a pistol where it's got wishbone triple option principles, but he's good enough to pass out of it, beat you from the pocket, beat you lost contain, broke contain, beat you up the middle, slice you up every which way and create a lot of confusion. It was a special. And to see what he's done, he's done the impossible, Chris. Lifted the toughest job in college football. Coaching at Vanderbilt in the SEC, there's no tougher job. And to lift this program to what they are is unreal.
Yeah, I wrote down a word as I was making some notes on the Vandy game for this week, and the word was efficient. And it just seems like they're just the most efficient offense. They don't do anything fantastically, but they're not throwing deep bombs, and they're not running the triple option, but they are running some like you mentioned, like just some innovative type of running plays. They can run it. He's so good at turning his body while he's running and still able to get a pass off. He just, someone mentioned it today. I was watching a show that, I'm not going to, compare him this highly to him, but it's like almost like a Tim Tebow type of, I'm just going to will the team to victory any which way. It's not going to look pretty, But at the end of the day, we're going to be winners, and that's just kind of like, you can't stop one thing because Pavia can do something else, and they just have a lot of different ways to beat you. And when you have him as a leader, you can't complain. It's been a amazing turnaround for that program.
Here's the positive thing about the transfer portal, where everybody wants to frown. It gives you better players a chance. The guys that don't have the measurables. I mean, Jackson Arnold was a 5-star, one of the top 5 recruits in the country coming out. Okay. All right, you're watching him at Oklahoma, now Auburn. He's got a second chance, all right? Or you want the kid that had to go to, New Mexico Military School and in New Mexico State to get his chance and had to prove it at multiple stops. You're looking at Scadaboo, who had to go to Sacramento State before he went to Arizona State. You're looking at Trinidad Chambliss because he doesn't have the measurables. Ferris State. Anyway, who do you want quarterback in your team this year? Chambliss, Jackson Arnold, or freaking Diego Pavia? I mean, come on. This is the good thing. And whether it's the stars that you look at the measurables, whether it's the big-time programs, no, you're not 6 feet. We're not recruiting you a quarterback. Okay, well, this is a good point. These guys are good players and been passed over for a long time. This is why you have some guys from Tennessee Chattanooga or Texas A&I, like Darryl Green, that come from the small schools because maybe the measurables, maybe they were on a 1-9 high school team, whatever it is, but there's plenty of misses in the college recruiting process.
Well, I'll give you another one, and it's also the hunger that these guys have. And just to compare the greatest of all time, how do you think Tom Brady ended up being so great? He just didn't get plopped down in the perfect situation. He was 5th-string quarterback at Michigan. Then he works his way up, and he has to go against Drew Henson, who's the golden child. He's been given the job, even though he's not the best quarterback on the staff, and he has to keep going back and forth, even when everyone could see that Brady was better than Henson, and he could have transferred, and maybe in this day and age he would have transferred. But I think deep down that made him a better player. Same way he comes into New England, 4th string, the hunger, you got to build your way up. You're not just given all these things. The guys that are given everything from the beginning, and you could say it about, even another comparison for a New England guy. Drew Bledsoe had all the talent in the world, tall, strongest arm in the building, but he was given everything. He was given everything. That he was the number 1 guy in Washington State. He was the number 1 pick. He didn't have to really adapt his game, learn how to read defenses, learn how to get better. I think the guys who come from the lower programs, they have to work their way up and continually prove themselves over time. Sometimes that just beats all the measurables, and you have winners, and that's what we got with Pavia.
Touche, brother. No doubt. No doubt. The hunger factor is, before the transfer portal, college coach is very common. Oh, it's de-recruiting day. Okay, when you first show up for the first month, oh, no, we don't care where you were, how highly recruited we can't do that anymore. You can't do that anymore with the fear of them jumping ship. Let's get to your top 5 picks, 3 and 2 last week, including a couple of field goals, put that game over in Bloomington. I don't know what I was more surprised for. 4th and 1 from the 12-yard line. Indiana kicks a field goal to put it over the 26.5 from 25 to 28. Or 4th and 12 at the 14 for Michigan State, and Jonathan Smith gets a field goal to backdoor cover again. Let's get to your top 5. Who are we looking at, Chris?
I like some more totals. Let's go out west here. Houston and Arizona State. I'm going under 47 in this game. Sun Devils maybe a little bit of a letdown off the big Texas Tech win. Granted, Texas Tech had their backup quarterback. The play calling was absolutely atrocious in that game. But the main takeaway from the game is that Jordan Tyson, the all-everything ASU receiver, got injured, and he's going to be out. Now, this guy's been a stud all year. 57 catches, 628 yards, 8 touchdowns. Now, in comparison, Arizona State's quarterbacks, Levitt and then Sims, who came in for one game, have a total of 1,482 yards passing on 145 completions and 9 touchdowns. So basically, Tyson, his 57 catches are 40% of their offense, 628 yards, 42% of the yards passing, and his 8 touchdowns are 89% of the passing touchdowns. This guy is more important to this game than a lot of people, I think, are realizing. Even with Tyson in the lineup, Arizona State's only averaging 4.8 yards a play, 4.9 yards on defense, so they're a good defensive team, 30th in the country. I think this is an under game. Houston is 6-1 against a weak schedule. They have a decent defense as well, 5-point yards to play, 32nd in the country. I just think the loss of Tyson is really going to affect Arizona State. I kind of want to play Houston, but I think the play is the under, as both teams have good defenses, and I think they're going to try to keep this a close game. Houston maybe try to steal it at the end, and I think the loss of Tyson is just going to be too much to get this game over the total.
Under 46.5, Willie Fritz, again, second year at Houston, doing a nice job. 4-8 last year, went over their total. They are one win away from going over the win total again. Under 46.5 is the DraftKings number from our friends here locally at the Queen Casino and Draftbook. Next bet, who are we looking at?
Let's go back to Nashville. We missed College Game Day by one week. They're coming out there this week. I'm going to go under again. I know we had under last week. The drives were just long and consistent, but no one can get a stop, so there was no punch like we talked about the other night. But I'm going under again, 52.5. Missouri has a really solid defense. Really good. 17th in yards per pass attempt, 6.1. 7th in yards per rush, 2.7. Total yards per play, 4.2, 8th in the country. So Missouri is good. But I like the fact that Vanderbilt was able to move the ball against the LSU defense. So I think Vanderbilt is going to find a way to get the thing done. But I like the under again. I think efficiency is going to be the key for Vanderbilt. Long, sustained drives. They got that great offense, 7.2 yards a play, 5th in the country. Very efficient, like I said. Only 4 interceptions, 2 in the Bama game by Pavia. And they've only fumbled twice all year. And we know Vandy likes to play slow, 130th in seconds per play in the country. Let's go under 52.5.
All right, next pick. That's 2. Who are we looking at next?
Let's go another under. Let's go Oklahoma Ole Miss. This opened at 52. I bet it under. It went against me, 54.5, 55. I think we're back to 52 now because there's supposed to be an 80% chance of rain at the kickoff. So we'll get an 11 a.m. kick. Oklahoma's 7-0 to the under this year. So if it's not broke, why fix it? Ole Miss off a brutal loss to Georgia, 35-26, headed to the fourth. They give up 17 unanswered. Maybe the air is a little bit out of the balloon for the Runts. I'm not sure, but they're going up against the best defense in the country. Number 1 in yards per play, 3.5. Number 2 in points per game, 10.5. They dominate against the rush. They dominate against the pass. And I know Chandler has played good, but he's gone up against a bunch of so-so defenses, Arkansas, Tulane, Washington State, even Georgia. The best defense they faced all year, LSU, they only put up 24 points. So I expect this game to be, maybe a little wet early. Oklahoma's not a great offensive team, fantastic defense. Let's see if we can stay under 52.5.
One of the strangest games I've seen. No hyperbole there. First 5 long, sustained touchdown drives. 5 in a row against a respected program. There's no doubt on the road. And then they go 3 and out, 4 and out to end the game. So weird. And yes, the freak-out meter is very high in Baton Rouge right now. We're losing to Vanderbilt. They don't care how good Vanderbilt is. The freak-out meter is going to come to me if the Runts get to the 12-team playoff before LSU. Sorry. Let's go. Next pick. Who's number 4, Chris?
Okay, well, let's go down to where you guys are. Let's go over in LSU. I bet this at 47.5. I think we're up to 50. I still think it's going to go over. I think both of these defenses are a little battered after last week, and I just don't think this LSU defense is the same without Wes Weeks and his 10 sacks. So I feel like LSU is going to need to pick up the pace. I talked to you about this the other night. This slow, methodical, not working offense. I think they're going to have to, turbocharge it a little bit, get things going, kind of switch something up. And I know A&M is going to score. I mean, they're just pretty much a machine on offense this year. So I just think I know there's supposed to be some rain in the forecast, but A&M gave up 42 points at 5:27 last week versus Arkansas. Vanderbilt got 31 and 399 versus LSU. I just think this game, it looked like it was going to be a defensive battle, but I think it's going to be the opposite. I'm going to go over the total.
All right, rain is definitely in the forecast. We will see it in the entire SEC footprint. So, whether you're talking about Fayetteville, Norman, Starkville, Columbia, South Carolina, it's everybody is dealing with probable rain.
And lightning delays are the biggest issue.
And Chris, now 136 D1 teams. LSU snaps per game, 136, 3 per game less than the North Carolina Tar Heels. Your final pick. You going with another total?
No, I'm going with this is my best bet, even though we don't do best bets on here, but I think the Colorado Buffaloes are poised for a potential upset of Utah. I know it's up at Rice Eccles, but Colorado plus 13.5, I bet it's 14, off a bye, off a nice win 2 weeks ago against Iowa State. Previous to that, they were tied at TCU in the fourth. They only lost by 3 to BYU, hung with Georgia Tech early in the year. That's looking better now. And if you look at this Utah team, they just lost in the Holy War. Their wins are against UCLA, Cal Poly, Wyoming, West Virginia with a third-string quarterback, and ASU without Sam Leavitt. I think Kyle Whittingham's lost a step. All their numbers are inflated just by beating up bad teams. It's a little hangover spot and laying 2 touchdowns off a team that I think caught the bye at the perfect time. I think they're going to install some stuff for Caden Salter. They're going to have something. They're going to have something planned. I think the Buffaloes plus 14 are a great bet, and I think they're a live shot to win this game outright. So Colorado Buffaloes. Hey, we gave out Stanford last week. They won outright against Florida State. Let's see if the Buffs can do it too.
Okay, all right. So we don't call it best bet. We call lock of the week. Lock of the week. So your lock of the week is Colorado plus 13.5. Your lock of the week is if you travel with multiple phones. So if you lose one, you just call it, right? So that's
except when you lose. Except when both get swiped at the same time. So.
Oh, well, there you go. So Humans and I talked about this on the air yesterday. We're setting you opening day, July 17th, Friday in Del Mar. Over under 2.5 phones you'll have.
No, what I might have is a cool attaché case to carry everything.
You can't keep both phones in the same spot. It's you gotta keep them separated, right?
I mean, he's got his phones laid out at Del Mar. He goes to the window for 15. I was like, boy, you're not in Louisiana, huh? I mean, you can't do this, man. These phones are
Charlie, it was definitely some pilot error involved in the phone stealing, but they were definitely stolen.
I believe you. It's like those 2 umbrellas, one for your vehicle, one for your house. They stick together.
All right, me and Coops, we already made our flight. We will see you again in July, mid-July, in Del Mar for opening day. So with old honest Coop with his blazer on opening day, that's beautiful.
Hey, next week we have Breeders' Cup Friday, so get excited.
Yep. All right, yeah, we'll get some picks ready for us for Friday and Saturday and next week as well. We'll talk to you on Sunday, live from Caesars in New Orleans this Sunday for Football Sunday as well. Good luck to you, Chris.
All right, thanks, guys. Good luck this weekend.
All right, don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds is Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings, 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Fast, friendly, professional service is what you do when you deal with our long-standing staff that includes Ashley Donald, Mariana Haynes, Adrian Galata, Michael Platt, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds at Legacy Title, 296-0060.
Log of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments from Rufino's. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Now, back to Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. 3 best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
Troy, how's your Friday, brother?
It's doing good. Just gearing up for a very exciting weekend of sports.
Before we get to some of the, see where the action is, what's the feel in Maryland with 3 straight, that's a bye week, 3 straight fourth quarter leads blown the last 3 weeks?
And basketball's coming soon.
Oh, come on, man. At least
Maryland is who they are. I think the fans are starting to realize that. For them to take the next step in their progression under Mike Locksley, they could have needed to win one of those games. Certainly UCLA has markedly improved, but you held a big lead over a Washington team coming east. Maryland's only home win in the last year or two is against a team coming east, and that was USC, I believe, last year. They've lost 11 straight home games against conference opponents. They trailed against Nebraska and then took the lead and gave it up. They're a young team, but they have an all-world quarterback. But this is what they do. They go 4-0 in the non-conference against Richmond and Towson, and then you only need 2-3 wins in conference play to get bowl eligible, and they can't seem to get it done. And it's just become wash, rinse, repeat. And I think, in week 6, every Maryland fan is gearing up that this could be the year, and it never is. So it's kind of, it's a little bit of Groundhog Day.
Yes, indeed. All right. Are you able to pull up and see if the tickets for Texas A&M and LSU, some of the indicators I'm looking at is it's almost 3-1 A&M tickets, and we talk about that. Recency bias is real with these, in football handicapping, more so in the pros, but LSU getting handled up in Nashville. And then Texas A&M, top 5 in the country in a slight 2.5-point road favorite. You see any action come the same type of stuff coming out with A&M action?
No. Right now we only got 58% of the tickets on the Aggies to cover, and 66% of the money is on LSU. It's a little surprising. I think Texas A&M is one of the I don't know if it's most underappreciated, but in the grand scheme of things, no one talks about them. They're the number 3 team in the country. They have a guy at quarterback who is the top 5 in Heisman odds, and we spend our time talking about other teams other than Texas A&M. So, prime opportunity for them to pick up a big road win against an LSU team that has taken all sorts of strays from the media. I was expecting maybe the public to be a little bit stronger on Texas A&M, although they haven't been blowing out the competition. They're winning the games. They have to, but was it against Mississippi State? That was close for far longer than I thought it was going to be. So I'm a little bit surprised that there isn't more money and tickets on Texas A&M, but also they're playing the Death Valley. Regardless of how well or not well LSU is played or how much strife and tension there is behind the scenes, that is just one of the hardest places to play, so I do kind of understand that.
And if they do win this game, I'm hard-pressed to see how they don't make the playoffs. That would be 8 wins. They've got a home game against South Carolina, a home game against Samford. They're not going to – I can't imagine they lose. Well, that gets them to 10 before you talk about Missouri and Texas. So even if they lost to Missouri and Texas, if they win tomorrow, I don't see how they could miss.
They already have cushion.
Yeah, they do.
And so that's what we're talking about where – and maybe that's led to some, it's Miami in, a 14 playoff. That might do them in. What happened last Friday, But no, they still control their own fate. So you have it's all about building yourself enough cushion to where you can afford a loss or even 2. But yeah, absolutely. When it's all said and done this year, where's A&M going to be finish ranked? I don't think they're going to be a top 5 team. I think Elko's done a great job, and he's a really good coach. And I think no gimmicks, line of scrimmage coach. So the quarterback has taken a jump. They're coaching him. We see a jump in his second full year as a starter in Marcel Reed. But I think they're more of a 6-10 team than a top 5. And that's being a little picky. I get it, but I don't have them in my own power ratings as a top 5 team.
If they finish 10-2 and they lose in the playoffs, say you finish 11-3. That's about
so
what
the
you're
first
talking
win
about.
Against Arkansas was the first of 5. That was first of a 4 out of 5 road swing in the conference. What about you guys in the? Well, first of all, before I get to your picks and maybe top 10 a pulse of what you guys talked about on the 10, what is what are some of the biggest public plays that we're looking at for this weekend in college football?
Well, it's a pretty ugly week in the Big Ten, and the one that's honestly most public is Iowa against Minnesota, which is, they're playing for the Bronze Pig, which is one of the better trophies we have out there in the country. And, Iowa doesn't score, but yet the total has moved up to 40. Minnesota cannot cover against Iowa. P.J. Fleck, I believe, is 1-7 against the spread against Iowa. And, we have 98% of the money is on Iowa to win. We've taken a ton of money on Iowa to cover. It's moved from, I believe it was 8.5 to 9.5 in favor of Iowa. And, having seen Minnesota beat Nebraska's a pretty good team. You're thinking, wow, maybe catching 8.5 against or 9.5 against Iowa. I know it's at Kinnick, which is a very hard place to play. The Joe in me thinks this is easy on Minnesota. Then the line moves to 9.5, and I'm going, wait a minute, hang on. You see that Minnesota can't cover the spread against Iowa. Minnesota's not good on the road. They don't score a lot of points on the road. This is one where, Greg and Doug and I were all in agreement that we're on Iowa here.
Interesting. Yeah, Cooper DeJean says that's my bronze pig, Floyd of Roysdale, when they called that inadvertent whistle on that game-winning punt return a couple of years ago. Yeah, that's the only time Minnesota's beaten them. And that's a little bit of an emotional win obvious with over Nebraska for Minnesota. So, and then Iowa probably covers if that 64-yard attempted field goal at the end of the half was turned into a block, scoop, and score for Penn State. So they win at 25-24, and if you lay to 3, they don't convert the 2-point conversion at the end when they took that 1-point lead as well. Troy, what about in the NFL? But got some lopsided matchups, so probably a lot of favorites, a lot of chalk, with the public is what I would assume this weekend in the NFL.
Yeah. What is it? 8 of the 13 games are favorites by 6.5 or more. I think 7 of those are home teams. When you're looking at, if you take spread out of the equation and just strength of all bets, money line, over, under, and spread, I think there's about 10 plays that are still at 90% or more of the money, and 8 to 10 that are 90% or more of tickets, which is very surprising. And if we do look at the spread, and let's just look at the tickets, there are 4 plays over 80%, and that is very surprising. We're talking Colts minus 14.5 versus the Titans, 87% of the spread tickets. Buccaneers minus 4 at the Saints, 84%. Falcons minus 7.5 versus the Dolphins, that's at 81%. Bengals minus 6.5 versus the Jets, that's also at 81%. And then the fifth one is just below 80% at 49ers plus 2 at Texans, 78%. And Falcons and Colts are both above 80% on the money as well to cover the spread. So it's a very strong. This is going to be a weekend that it is. I don't think it's going to be small win for the public, small win for the sportsbook. I think this is going to be bloodshed somewhere in some direction.
All right, let's start in the NFL with your picks. We'll get to a couple of college picks in a second, but your best bet in the NFL in a breakdown. Why, Troy?
Oh, gosh. It's the over in Dallas, Denver. It is a very strong play. It's at 50.5 points. I believe 95% of the money is on the over. I'm typically an unders better, but the Cowboys, their offense is just electric. Everyone on the offense is feasting. And the Broncos, they scored, 0 points against the Giants in the first half, but then just erupted in the second half. They have a potent offense. I think this is going to be a track meet. And while I am an unders better, when I do play an over, and it's usually on a game that has a high over that I'm expecting a shootout, I get very excited. Now, granted, I thought Lions-Buccaneers on Monday night was going to be played in the 60s, and that was nowhere near that. So, could be wrong there, but that is my best play for Sunday is Broncos-Cowboys over 50.5.
All right, in college, who you like this week?
Yeah, I'll kind of keep it in the region. And a team, we talked about Texas A&M doesn't get a lot of love on the national scale as being an elite team, but another team inside the top 25 that I don't think anyone talks about is Virginia. The Cavs are very good. It's surprising that Virginia is the team of Virginia, not Virginia Tech, who is terrible. Virginia's 10.5-point favorite at North Carolina. North Carolina is a disaster. It's not a hard place to play. It should be a fine weekend in terms of weather-wise. I think the Cavaliers are very, very good. I think North Carolina is very, very bad. I don't love that it's double digits. I would love if it was 8.5, but I'll take Virginia minus 10.5, and that's a strong play. 88% of the public tickets are on Virginia to cover at North Carolina.
All right. And Malik Washington gives Maryland a chance, and he's going to be great. But, his numbers are not overwhelming. He is not in the top 100 in yards per attempt, which is something that we look at. And that's not UCLA's done it more. They didn't score their first offensive touchdown until 35 seconds ago in the game against UCLA. So, they had the pick six on Nico in that game. So, as bright as the future is there, and listen, he's a first-year starter. He's a true freshman. He's going to be fine, but as far as a finished product and consistently moving the ball, that's not there just yet with the Turtles. So I just wish we'd get
one thing about that, and we talk about it in basketball where coaches aren't recruiting high school players, they're re-recruiting their own players. They're going to have to do that with Washington. They have to win games to get him to stay because even if the metrics aren't there, the buzz is there. and teams are going to come calling for him next year with bags of cash. So Maryland has to win some games to keep him around.
I think Loxley being in state, I think they've got a chance. They've got that. They're in the Big Ten. They're getting some of that TV revenue. So I think they can just get over the 4.5 win total that I had earlier in the year. I mean, just if they lose 8 in a row, man, like this, it's going to be a tough one. Follow Troy on Twitter at Troy Machir, MACHIR. We'll talk to you. I got the day off on Monday, Charlie, but I'm with Troy. But Charlie will be calling you at 10:30 or 11:30.
11:30.
11:30.
No press conference.
No press conference. No press conference. Troy, enjoy the weekend. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Don't forget our friends right down the street at Las Palmas Mexican restaurant. We're over at Las Palmas Rio Cantina once a month, and man, it is a great family of restaurants. So they're right down the street. They've got the one in Gonzales as well, Rio Cantina. We were there in Bruley recently, but fresh food, generous portions, affordable pricing, good for all the family. It's clean. The service is good. Great selection of margaritas. Wednesdays is $5 margaritas all day. Happy hour all the time. The patio this time of the year, every one of them has some great patios. Love that patio in the Gonzales location. So our friends over at Las Palmas Mexican Restaurant and Rio Cantina with locations in Dutchtown, Highland Road down the street here from Rufino's, Central, and in Gonzales.
Live at Rufino's. Lock of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So the Sean Payton took a little grief this week for, giving Russell Wilson a little jab and everything. He doesn't like Russell Wilson. I think that's pretty.
And there's a lot of coaches that don't freaking take shots publicly.
No, right. But how much does Brian Daboll not want to see Russell Wilson in the game? The NFL fined the Giants $200,000 for violating the protocol with Dart.
Yeah.
They fined Daboll $100,000 for going in the tent.
Yeah, no.
It's a $100,000 trip into the tent to see about his quarterback.
No, Charlie, I said that was the 20 seconds of real time. He comes in there, incompletion on third down. The fans are booing him. He's running into the tent. You want to know their stance on their quarterbacks and stuff like that.
League sent him a $100,000 invoice today.
Dart's far from perfect, but God, the energy and the life in the offense, it's unbelievable.
They even fined Scattaboo $15,000. They got everybody. Bruce Marshall with us when we return. Lock of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments from Rufino's 104.5 ESPN.
It's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. He's out there somewhere in the world. Maybe even your local sports book.
Can anybody help us?
Let's bring in Bruce Marshall.
Brucey, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, pretty good. The NBA started for better or worse, and college hoops is only a couple weeks away. Can you believe that?
What's your thoughts on the federal investigation findings and there's a lot to talk about in the era of online or mobile betting and since passed by the whole thing. But your thoughts on all this?
The real quick overview I have of this, and that's from talking in past years to guys who work like at Sports Radar, and which is an oversight agency, and a lot of it from overseas soccer because that was what they focused on a lot before PASPA got overturned here, 6-7 years ago. But the top levels of sport, they always thought were very unlikely to be tainted by this stuff. And the Sports Radar guys would always focus most of the illegal, the betting and where the stuff really was shady was in the lower levels because the guys making less money were more susceptible to that. Obviously, you translate that to the U.S., you worry about the colleges too, but let's just talk about what's in front of us here. That's why overseas you didn't see too many scandals in the English Premier League, the Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A, this and that. It's lower levels. What stuns me here is that anybody in the NBA would get involved with this. With the money these guys make, it just doesn't make any sense to get involved with this stuff because the risk to the reward doesn't make any sense to me. And that's the first thing. And we can unpack a lot of this more as we move forward in the next weeks and months. But that's the first thing that jumps at me. I just cannot believe that anybody at the NBA, with the money they're making and the relatively smaller payouts for this stuff, and whether they're involved or not, I'm not sure, but it just doesn't make any sense, and that's what really perplexes me.
Agreed, man. Yeah, no, it's stupidity. It's on the NBA tonight. What's his name? Kenny Smith started talking about addiction. Barkley said, "Kenny, this is about stupidity. This is not about addiction." I mean,
Silver was talking about the two-way players. On the two-way contracts. It's still a lot of money, but it's not the ridiculous. But $100 million. Terry Rozier has made over $100 million.
No, he was on a $100 million contract, 4 year, $100 million. I mean, right in the middle of it.
On that, you got to.
No.
Chauncey Billups has made a good bit of money too. I mean, that's a different thing with the poker and all that. But
he's making $5 million a year to be the coach currently.
And what did he make in his career?
He
did pretty well.
Yeah, no, he did. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
he's a Hall of Famer. So I mean, but the mob stuff and the fixed poker games, there have been things going on like that. I mean, the movie's about it. There's nothing new on guys, fixing poker games. The other part is, but the prop bets, and as far as, and I believe that the mobile sports books are listed as the victims here. Now, I mean, if they are giving large amounts to prop bet unders, which are the easiest to manipulate, I mean, no, you deserve what you get.
And
if they find a guy who's got it established and he's a known loser, he's lost and he bets, 10,000 on props like that and sort of regularly, and he's lost over time, they may identify him and get bet through him. And so, you got to take the good with the bad when it comes to that. But if they're, that's
they shut down the betting in 45 minutes. I mean, it's not like they're not trying to police this stuff.
I compare, Bruce, mobile sports bets who give large limits, allow large bets on prop bet unders, kind of like athletic departments paying buyouts for like $50 million buyouts. It's like, no, you got to look in the mirror a little bit. So, prop bets are not going anywhere. It's the new era of sports game. There's a lot of tax revenue that come from prop bets in these 5, 7, 8, 10-leg parlays that the only way you can do it on a Monday night is going through the prop bets are not going anywhere. The limits, that's and that's the thing that people complain about the most in the mobile betting. Man, I'm limited. I can only get $100 down on this type of thing because I've been flagged or something. I might be a sharp bettor. I'm beating them at closing line value. I'm limited. So the limits, and then you hear about this. So there's some inconsistencies there. Brucey, well done on the NFL last week in your live appearance. Who's your top bet or two this week and why for the NFL? We'll start off with.
Well, I'm going to actually lay some points this week. Normally I don't go with these big favorites, but I'm going to go ahead and do it this week, Jimmy. Patriots at this week. I think something is really going on good here with Mike Vrabel. They get the Brownies at home, around a TD or so. I know Cleveland looked pretty good last week. I think a lot of that was Miami just really reeking last week, and I am kind of surprised Mike McDaniel is still in the coaching seat there. But Drake May is part of it. I mean, he has made such progress here in just a year and a half. But you can just tell things coming together with the Patriots, and Mike Vrabel's got these guys. I mean, if they can go into Buffalo and win, now this is 4 wins and covers in a row, and every year we see a team go 7, 8 games, it seems, on a streak. And I think this is New England's, and the Browns just don't have enough to answer that if they get behind in a game. Gabriel might be their best option right now at quarterback, but let's see what happens. You fall down 7-10-0. I think Cleveland's in trouble. I'll lay the points with the Patriots there, and I'm actually going to lay the points with the Colts, and I'm walking maybe into a trap blindly, like we warned last week, but with my eyes open. I think Tennessee is this bad. And I had questions about Cam Ward coming in, whether he was worth it. Maybe he was the best of this quarterback class, but I don't know that he was as good as any of those quarterbacks taken in the first round last year. The disturbing thing about Ward right now is he seems to be getting worse as this season progresses. He didn't look all that horrible in the opener against Denver. But some of the mistakes he's been making the last couple of weeks, I mean, literally like dropping the ball out of his hands when he's pressured, not even hit. He just looks flustered there. They've made a coaching change. I think the overall talent is just not there. They just don't have any offense. And unless the Colts just go flat, and I am worried about that a bit because they've had a series of very high-profile games. That offense looked terrific last week against the Chargers. But it's just the eye test here. I mean, the Colts have everything going right. They are winning. They are extending margins. This other team is horrible. So I'm just going to trust what I'm seeing here. And if I've got to lay 2 touchdowns with the Colts, I'll do it. So 2 pretty heavy favorites for me. That's odd for me to do that in the NFL, but I'm going to go that way this week.
You go down to the Queen, and you can get this bet down at DraftKings. It's pretty cool, the most wins. And I think New England, and I made a play already, it's now 13-1 for New England. Look at their schedule. I mean, and look, we know Vrabel's good, May's good. They just won 3 in a row on the road. That's difficult to do. But their schedule is very cozy at 13-1. They got to have a shot. And the Colts are the favorite to have how many people picked that before the season, that the Colts would be favored to have the most wins in the regular season this year?
Daniel Jones's mother.
Well played, Charlie. Well played. Brucey, let's get to your 5-pack in college football. Let's roll. What we got?
Okay, let's roll. I mean, I'm going to talk about rolling. I'm going to roll with UCLA again here. I know this is pretty tough going back to Indiana. A couple of things. One, Indiana, by the way, I mean, a couple of these spread losses for Indiana have been pretty hard to stomach if you're an Indiana backer the last couple of weeks. Jonathan Smith kicking a field goal in the last minute last week for Michigan State and taking that safety against Iowa a few weeks ago. But especially in the Michigan State game, that is the risk, though, when you're laying near 4 touchdowns every week, these huge numbers. I mean, you just got to blow out teams every week. The Iowa number was not that big, but I mean, like last week, it's hard to do that. I mean, just to keep revving it up every week and killing people, as good as Indiana is, and I'm glad Cignetti got the contract, and Mendoza might win the Heisman. I know how good they are. But I'll tell you what, UCLA, there's something going on with them there. I talked to people who are kind of close to the program. They believe they're going to win this game. Now, that might be misplaced bravado, but totally different with Tim Skipper. I think they have got to consider him for the permanent job if he can get this team bowl eligible. It's a completely different situation. This team's energized, motivated. The talent wasn't all that bad. They've got Nico making plays. They made some mistakes last week, and they still ended up beating Maryland. 2 things to note here about UCLA. When Deshaun left, the transfer portal opens for 30 days during the season for coaching changes. UCLA didn't have one guy go in the portal. They also, after the 4th game, the redshirt break-off, they didn't have one guy declare for a redshirt. The guys are here, want to be here for UCLA. They're going to play to the death, and the back door is going to be wide open. So I'm giving UCLA a shot, plus all those points tomorrow in Bloomington, Jimmy.
25.5 currently right now. Our friends at the Queen at the DraftKings outlet. Who's up next, Bruce?
Big Ten, Northwestern. We saw this looks a lot like 2 years ago. Excuse me, I'm all choked up talking about Northwestern with David Braun, but I think it's a little bit better. Because I think there's an upgraded quarterback with Preston Stone. Now, he is not putting up numbers like he did a couple of years ago when he was still starting at SMU, but he gives them a little bit more there. But this defense is awfully good. Top 11 in the country, 11th in the country in scoring defense. Really, really rugged. And a very functional team, and they are winning, and they're covering point spreads. And you're an underdog again here this week, and it is Nebraska. Jimmy, you, Charlie, I mean, tell me. I'm trying to think back now. I mean, it's been a while since Matt Rule really did anything, and I'm just wondering, or is all this talk about Penn State, should Rule really be near the top of the list? I know he's alma mater and all that, but I think this team is spectacularly overrated. I think there's a desire on the part of the national media to get, for some reason, to recall Nebraska's greatness, which is so long ago now. It's almost 30 years since Dr. Tom left. It's almost a quarter century since Solich got that team into the title game somehow against Miami. They got whipped, and we haven't heard from Nebraska since. This is a mid-level Big Ten program. They got exposed completely last week against Minnesota. And Raiola, I'm still not sure how great he is either, and they have had a lot of trouble protecting him in recent games, too. Against this Northwestern defense, which might be one of the best ones Nebraska has faced, I think Northwestern could win this game, but let's just stick on the spread, touchdown, a little over that maybe. Now, Northwestern tomorrow.
Northwestern second all-time in most losses behind Indiana, 5-2 this year. That's right, the two most losingest programs in the history of college football, 12-2 combined. All right, your third pick, Brucey.
7.5 there?
Plus 7.5, I'm sorry.
Okay. At Vanderbilt in there, too, and we got quite a trifecta there, don't we?
I'll get to that. I got some stat for you later. We'll see your picks first. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. How about, let's go Big 12. Sunshine State. Kansas State. The last time Kansas State lost to Kansas, George W. Bush was still in the White House, and Mark Mangino was the coach for Kansas. We've got to go back to 2008. Now, that was Ron Prince's last year at K-State after Snyder retired the first time, and he lost all three to Kansas. Snyder comes back immediately in 2009, and they start to beat Kansas again. This was something Snyder, in his first tenure there, made a point. Once he finally started to beat Kansas, not just beat Kansas, grind them into dust, and he used to kill them. And they have not lost to Kansas since. And when the baton was handed to Chris Kleiman in 2019, well, I'll be darned. He has beaten Kansas 6 straight times, too. A couple of closer games the last 2 years, but still, K-State is winning. I think things turned around for Kansas State after the bye week. Avery Johnson, look at his stat line, has been a little bit different since then. I mean, I think Matt Wells and Kleiman impressed upon him. Look, make plays on the move. We talked about this a few weeks ago. Don't just sit in the pocket. Don't worry about the NFL. Your game is on the move. Yeah. Making plays when you're escaping the pocket. He's been much more effective. He's been running more. K-State has covered 3 games in a row. They should have beat Baylor that game. There was an ill-timed pass that Johnson threw in the fourth quarter, got taken back for a pick 6. That was the play of the game. They had a field goal blocked at the end. They could have won that game, too. Kansas State's on the nice move up. I think Kansas has actually been a little more, record-wise, yeah. I know they're 4-3 and K-State's 3-4. I think they've been a little disappointing at K-State. They have Kansas. I'm sorry. They have not made any improvement on the defensive side. They were 92nd last year total defense. They're 98th right now. We saw what Texas Tech did in the second half a couple weeks ago. The Cincinnati game, the Missouri game, the defense just is not carrying its weight. And Jalen Daniels is having a pretty good year offensively, but this defense just ain't that good. I'm going to stick with series trends here. You rarely see a team with a 16-game series winning streak, and dynamics not that much different. Being an underdog, K-State for me.
All right. Kent State opened up 0-4 against the spread. Bye week, they're 3-0 against the spread since. Avery Johnson running the ball. His rushing attempts went from 8 to 12 from the first 4 games. The next 3, his rushing yardage went from 15 to 57 from the first 4 to the next 3. Quickly, the next 2, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Bama here. And by the way, we're going to lay some points against South Carolina.
Don't kiss up to my son with this Alabama crap. Come on, man.
Well, there you go, Ethan. I'm doing this for you. But real quick, endangered species in the SEC, offensive coordinators / play callers. You could throw Derek Nix from Auburn in there. You can throw Joe Sloan from LSU in there. Certainly Bush Hamden at Kentucky. Kyle Flood and Sark, who actually is involved in the play calling at Texas. Both of them. I don't think they're helping Arch out too much, but none of them have done as poorly as Mike Shula has done here for South Carolina. And Shane Beamer, Dull Liggins did very well last year with the Lenore Sellers. He moved on to App State as a head coach. Shula has failed. Look at Sellers' stats this year, how much worse they are. And, oh, by the way, I think this might happen with Beamer to Virginia Tech, and the talk is really going to start heating up about now. This is going to get more distracting for South Carolina. Big disappointment this year. I don't think they even make a bowl. Bama has got it rolling, and I'm going to lay points with the Crimson Tide. And Ty Simpson now in the Heisman race tomorrow at Williams-Brice.
After the Florida State, 5-1, 5-0-1, or 6-0, depending on what your number was for the Missouri-Alabama game. But Alabama has come. And, yes, he is. And, look, some fortunate covers. The Jam Miller run at the end of Vanderbilt. I mean, the 100-yard pick 6 against Tennessee. I get it, but still they're already public to begin with. All right, and your last pick, Brucey.
I'm going to go Sun Belt here, baby, and let's go with Southern Miss. I missed them last week, and I probably should have mentioned them on the show. And now the number's getting near 2 touchdowns here with UL versus ULM, but I'm going to do it. Charles Huff's spread record since last year, counting Marshall, 14-3-1. He's got Southern Miss on the right track this year. Remember, he won the Sun Belt at Marshall last year. Braylon Braxton, he used to be at Tulsa. He went to Marshall last year with Huff. Now he came down to Southern Miss, along with a lot of other Herd players from last year. Since the start of last season, so we got a season and a half now, 33 touchdown passes and 6 picks. That is good. And everything has fallen together nice for Southern Miss. ULM, 3 straight really poor efforts here. One other note here. ULM -5 turnover margin this year. Southern Miss +9, and Huff Marshall was good with that last year too. So there's a big difference in turnover margin here, and that can flip the field really quick and give Southern Miss some of those scores from a shorter field. Golden Eagles, I'll lay the points tomorrow at Hattiesburg against ULM.
SOUTHERN, Southern Mississippi, USM. Yes, indeed, they kind of get it going. Here's one for you, Bruce. So the most winningest programs in the history of college football, the top 7, Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Notre Dame, Texas, Oklahoma, and Penn State, combined this year 37-12. The most losingest, Indiana, Northwestern, Rutgers, Wake Forest, Kansas, Iowa State, and Tulane, 35-14. Just 2 games separate the most winningest and the most losingest combined this year. I never saw it coming. One of the things the private schools, Vandy and some others, Duke, Virginia, SMU, some other, the transfers don't count against their admission statistics and the ACTs and things like that. So the U.S. News and World Report, I mean, they maintain those statistics by getting some of these student athletes in to play football. But that is staggering, huh, Bruce?
It is staggering. I didn't realize Tulane would be on that list on the
number 7, baby. Hullabaloo, hullabaloo. Yes, indeed. Yes, Willie Fritz. He's a miracle worker. Summerall's a hot name as well. So, Brucey, great stuff as always, man. Thank you. Good luck to you this weekend.
Okay, Jimmy. Thank you.
Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank. Running a business can be difficult enough without the right relationship with your bank. With United Community Bank's local business bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. Contact our great team of bankers at United Community Bank. Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and Prentice Wilkes, and discuss how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Flag of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments from Rufino's on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Make sure you use Louisiana rice, grown by Louisiana farmers since 1936. Available at most local grocery stores. Supreme Rice.
I thought I deserved a little better fate last week.
Charlie, I was looking at your picks over it. I'm like, you had some tough beats, bro. You had some. Look, I mean, I'm not in the business of giving you a whole lot of compassion on this outfit, but I mean, that was some brutal beats, man.
Duke in particular. I just had to cry.
How often do I tweet during the games? I mean, do I want to sit there and tweet, or I need to check lines and I'm trying to live bet and everything? No, I had to. That was unbelievable, that Duke Georgia Tech game. Unbelievable.
Right about 500, I think, for the season now, with a couple of ties.
You and everybody else.
Yeah, but a couple of ties thrown in there.
Who else did you have last week? I don't have it in front of me, but
gosh.
I remember.
Let me think about this for a second. I had Duke. I had Arkansas. That was a winner.
But that's a fortunate cover, too.
Yeah,
backdoor.
UCLA was a push. USC I missed by half a point, and Auburn.
Well, you got a bad line because it went to 10.5 on Saturday
we
for
caught it
USC.
I got the Friday line on that one.
Yeah.
And in Auburn, I think we were both on Auburn. Bad beat or just we should know better by now? I don't know.
Well, they take the lead. Okay, they take a 4-point lead. They get a turnover.
Yeah.
I mean, with like 4 minutes to go. When they only kick the field goal, I'm getting off of some. I mean, plus 290. For Missouri to win the game at that point. Oh, I'm going to cover some of my backside there. No, I'm not watching this again. I mean, you expect it to happen. And in a team, when they lose, find ways to lose. They start expecting it as well. There's no doubt.
Let's see if we can do a little better this week. Going to start out with Ole Miss plus 5.5 at Oklahoma. Can I just start out by saying I think Ole Miss is better? Okay, let's start there. 6 in a row for the Rebs, and then they lose respectfully, respectable to Georgia in Athens. Oklahoma, the top defense in the SEC. Statistically,
top offense and defense in the country.
I think that number. Yeah, I think that number's soft. The 3 rental wins. Here's why: the 3 rental wins combined for 6 points, so they're a good bully. Fine. Michigan, Underwood's first road start. Auburn, no quarterback. Texas, no offensive line. And South Carolina, which outside of Lenore Sellers didn't have much of anything. So I think that it's not that they're not a good defense. They are. And Venables is a fantastic defensive coach. But I think this number's a little bit inflated. I think Ole Miss will challenge them offensively like they haven't been before. And the biggest glaring weakness for Ole Miss is what? Rush defense, okay? Oklahoma's 12th in the league in rushing. I can't imagine Mateer coming off the injury wants to run all that much. So I don't know that they exploit it the way Georgia did in Athens last week. Moneyline sprinkle here. I think Ole Miss has got a great shot to win this game, and I'm going to scoop up the 5.5 points to go with it.
It's the last time they'll be underdog.
Okay.
This year. Yeah, and LSU. Oklahoma's number 1 in yards per play defense. So, yeah, but is it? Part of it is, who you played, the offenses that you played. So, and we know Ole Miss. And Kirby Smart's still the coach. Hey, George, when's a Kirby Smart team giving up 5 straight long sustained touchdown drives to start the game?
Yeah,
never.
Almost, never. And then I'm as perplexed as you are about why they fizzled as bad as they did in the fourth quarter.
And then 3 and out. Well, no, they made adjustments. Very much like that Rose Bowl against Oklahoma, where Oklahoma was just gashing them with the running game. They finally said, man, we got to get some more guys in the box. We got to go man. They went man. They was forced to it maybe later than they should have, but it flipped the game. Yeah.
They'll take Memphis at home plus 5.5 against USF. Tigers got to be kicking themselves for losing as a huge favorite last week to UAB. That was the look-ahead spot. It caught them. But you know what about look-ahead spots? When you finally get to the game you're looking ahead to, you're usually pretty focused. There's a lot of evens in this game, matching 6-1 records, each with a win over an SEC team. Bulls, top offense in the league. Tigers, top defense in the league. So what's not equal? The point spread. I think this is a field goal game. I'm catching 5.5 at home. I'm going to take Memphis.
Did you say look ahead? The look ahead line this time last week was Memphis -3.
So
8.5 point swing. Yes,
and a very emotional game for UAB. Alex Mortensen was coaching there. His dad passed away not terribly long ago. He got UAB up. Congratulations, big time win. They were a 24-point underdog, I think, last week to Memphis, and lost it outright. I'm going to take Minnesota despite the warnings, plus 9.5 at Iowa. When Iowa plays anybody with a heartbeat, the game's usually close. So scratch Wisconsin out and the 2 rental wins. The other 4 games have been pretty competitive. They've been decided by an average of less than 5 points, and they lost 2 of those games. I don't really need to look at Iowa's stats. They're the same pretty much every year. But since you asked, second to last in the Big Ten in offense to Wisconsin, 4th in total defense behind 3 top 10 teams. Iowa is Iowa. Minnesota's not in Ohio State's class, and they didn't handle the trip to Cal very well, but they've beaten everybody else. Nice win last Friday against Nebraska. They get an extra day off here. I think this is probably one of those games where Iowa wins it somewhere between 3 and 7 points. I'm going to take 9.5. I think it's just a few too many here, and I'm going to take the Boat Rowers plus the points.
Floyd
here.
of Rosedale, the bronze pig on the line here for Minnesota and Iowa. They first started playing back in 1891. Minnesota ripped off the first 12 in this one, including 6 straight shutouts, Charlie, to jog your memory on that one. Iowa's won 9 of the last 10 in this one. The one they didn't, Cooper DeJean said, give me my bronze pig back on that horrible call at that punt return 2 years ago.
Everybody needs a bronze pig in their life.
That's absolutely.
I'm going to take Houston plus 7 at Arizona State. So you think Arizona State, they lose their starting quarterback in the game to Utah. They get back. They beat a really good Texas Tech team. Voila, they're back. Thing is, they really weren't crushing it before that. They're 3-3-1 against the number. 2 of those wins were by a half of point. And more of these games have been close than not. I think a letdown's possible after a big effort against the Red Raiders. Fighting Fritzes are 6-1. Their only losses to that same Texas Tech team. No score comparing. We frown upon that here. They're a solid club. They've already got 3 road wins this year. Light competition, I get it, but road wins nonetheless. And Jordan Tyson, the leading receiver for Arizona State, being out really hurts them. I think the Cougs keep it close here. I liked this better yesterday when I was getting 7.5, but I'll take the touchdown. Houston +7 at Arizona State.
Theo Rush fade and Willie Fritz. No, don't matter how old you are, man. Can you coach or not? So he's doing it again. They're easily over their win total last year. It was 2.5. It went 4-8. On his way again this year. 7.5 was the win total, and they are at 6-1.
Last pick. Told you 2.5 hours ago.
And, of course, the Tyson is out by far.
Jordan Tyson being out is a big deal. All right, told you 2.5 hours ago when we started the show I was taking LSU. So I'm going to take the Tigers +2.5. You know the drill. This is a spot game. I'm sorry. I understand all of the angst around here about the offense, about the coach, defensive breakdowns last week against Vanderbilt. But this game is in Tiger Stadium. It's at night. They're awfully hard to beat here. They've lost one night game with Brian Kelly at the helm. That was to Alabama. We've asked a lot of our experts, Jimmy, for a wide-angle lens look at this game this week. And this is a buy low on LSU spot. This is a sell high on A&M spot. This is back-to-back road games for Texas A&M. The record for teams getting back-to-back SEC road games, boy, in the second game it drops pretty significantly. I'm not going with this if not now win stuff. This is just a spot for LSU. And if you say, I've heard this from too many people this week. Well, I know exactly what LSU is going to do. Why would you say that? Why would you? Look, we do this, all day, every day, and we don't know for sure what's going to happen. This kind of stuff happens all the time in college football, where one team looks like they're on the way down, the other team looks like they're on the way up, and they got to go on the road, and it's a spot. I think this is the spot, and I think LSU wins this game. I would take a money line sprinkle on this too. I'll take the 2.5 gladly. I cannot provide you with offenses versus defense numbers or particular matchups in this game as to why I think this. If I did that, I'd pick Texas A&M. But I know about the emotions of college football and the road swings and just where they are. And you brought up something else. I didn't write this down, but when you said it, I thought A&M, whether they want to admit it or not, has a little bit of a cushion to get to the playoff. Mm-hmm. They've won the 3 one-score games. LSU's lost 2 of their 3 one-score games. A&M could lose this game and be in fine shape to make the playoff. All they'd have to do is beat South Carolina and Missouri, and they could lose to Texas, who they might beat. But they could even lose to Texas at that point and still get into the playoffs. They would never say that publicly. I wouldn't expect them to, but I like the Tigers in this game. It does not mean that I think everything's fixed. It does not mean that I think that they're going to make the playoff. It does not mean I think that they're going on a run or anything. I just think they're going to win tomorrow. So.
No,
that's it.
And after they win, you can go up on ticket prices.
No, they did that before.
Oh, they did.
I promised to get on the air 90 minutes after the game, no matter whether they win or lose. I think that ticket.
It's a good spot for LSU,
yeah.
And a lot of our handicappers have talked about that. When you're down and out, and people are down on you. This program and a lot of other programs with a little oomph there certainly have it. This was back in the summer. LSU was about a 5.5, 6-point favorite. And
at 5-2, I'm sorry, your season's not over. They don't think the season's over at Tennessee. They don't think the season's over at Notre Dame. They don't think the season's over at Texas. They don't think the season's over at Michigan. All those teams are 5-2 teams. I don't think the season's over at LSU. They get drilled tomorrow. I'll come back in mea culpa and say, hey, look, I'm an idiot. But I think they got a great chance.
Why would we not have a close game to begin with in this league? I mean, we've had way more lopsided matchups than this at different locations, home or away.
Texas, Kentucky comes right to mind.
26-8 first downs there. 400 to 180. Yardage. Why would this one not be close? So, listen, Ole Miss was a better roster than LSU last year. And at night,
and LSU won. Yeah,
beat them. So, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think A&M is a top 10 team, though. I do too. But it's who's going to play that. Marcel Reed he's not the same quarterback from one half to the next. He's way more consistent than he was last year. He's better than he was. He's more productive than he was a year ago. But The beauty of it is frustrates the Blue Bloods, the high expectation programs, fan base more than ever, because you never had as many close games. No, you got to play well to win. And did LSU play great on Saturday? No. So you have to play well. And A&M's going to, and we don't know who's going to play well.
If the game was at a different spot on the schedule, I might feel differently. If the game were in College Station, I would feel differently. In this place, in this spot, I like LSU.
It's a Hunt Palmer evolution in college football.
Oh, I got to hear this.
One of his biggest pet peeves is grow the game. The game has grown. The game is growing, and it frustrates the hell out of guys like him.
The size of the game
fair?
is fine.
Really?
Yes,
is that an accurate Hunt Palmer?
He is a blue blood snob, absolutely, for football and baseball. Yeah, he does.
Grow the game.
For sure.
I don't want to grow the game.
And on top of that, he hates A&M, so be a lively show with Hunt Palmer.
I think grow the game is just nails in a chalkboard for Hunt. So, but the game is growing. I'm sorry, it is right before our eyes.
He is an upper-level SEC snob, no doubt.
I just said the 7 most losingest programs against the 7 most winningest programs is a 2-game cushion combined. It's a new day. It's a new day.
I say that in the nicest possible way, Hunt. He's an SEC snob. That's okay.
Monday, red beans. Red beans and rice day. So I'm going to for my birthday. I'm going to celebrate with the red bean man. Hold the mayo.
Okay.
So I can't wait. So we're going to hang out, and he's doing his red bean review. And we're going to go have fun and trying to be interested in the NBA on Monday night. So, but it is an absolute must. It's that parboil rice from Supreme Rice, man. It is so easy to boil. Some people struggle. They need a rice steamer and a boil. Man, look, just throw some boiling water with a little salt and just a dash of olive oil to kind of loosen it up a little bit. Strain it, and it's firm. It's a long grain rice. It has all the nutrients of the brown rice, so it's good for you. It's great. It's that closest thing to restaurant quality rice. It is restaurant quality rice, so it's my favorite. Available at all area grocery stores for wherever you find your Supreme Rice.
Live at Ruffino's. Log of the Week Friday presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments from 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jimmy Ott's 5-pack of picks, brought to you by Supreme Rice. Make sure you use Louisiana rice, grown by Louisiana farmers since 1936. Available at most local grocery stores. Supreme Rice.
Rough week for me last week, 1-4, both college and pro. So 500 for the season. Before I get to my 5-pack, let's get Max's in right now. Southern Miss is minus 13.5, so he and Brucey are both on that. UL Monroe's top 2 quarterbacks are doubtful for that game tomorrow night. Florida Atlantic plus 14. Navy is one of the more disappointing teams, kind of under the radar teams this year. Worst strength of schedule this year. These are Max's notes. The Owls, FAU, 4th most passing yards in FBS, and we've seen some passing attacks really riddle that Navy defense. And Florida Atlantic, most fourth down attempts in the country does increase their variance.
Did he say Navy's disappointing?
I did.
Aren't they undefeated?
Navy is?
Navy? I think
Are
so.
they really undefeated?
Yeah.
They ain't against the spread.
Well, no, not against the spread, but they are undefeated, I believe.
Yeah,
they're 6-0. Talk about high expectations.
No. Well, you know what I care about, Charlie.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. All right. Check out the ATS spread. So now you got me looking it up, and here we go. First of all, scratch VMI. They did not cover against UAB. They did cover against Tulsa, 42-23. They're favored by 14. They did win that one. They did not cover at home against Rice. They won by 8. They were favored by 13.5. Air Force, they were lucky to win, and Temple. So they are 1-4 against the spread.
They are 6-0 straight up.
Disappointing.
Okay.
Yes. My book, disappointing.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. Missouri and Vanderbilt under. He's on with Chris Massero in his under with Missouri. We talk about Missouri. Vanderbilt being one of the slowest pace of game, 116th in plays per game. Missouri, most plays a game in FBS. So contrasting styles there. We'll see if they'll play ball control. It's like 40-20 time of possession. Was LSU and Vanderbilt?
Right at it, yeah, 39 change.
Yeah, Missouri 8th in third down defense. Missouri 11th in yards rushing defense. Max has the under in that one. Kentucky plus 8.5. He's going back to the Kentucky here. Kentucky SEC home games, 3-point loss to Texas, 7-point loss to Ole Miss. Saying tougher than usual here for Kentucky against Tennessee. And then Northern Illinois and Ball State. Ball State plus the 6.5. Northern Illinois' lone win is 19-17 barely against FCS Holy Cross. Ball State 2-1 in MAC play. And IU 1-6 against the spread. Ball State 5-2 against the spread. We'll see if the trend is his friend. Max with USM, Florida Atlantic, under Missouri Vandy, Kentucky, and Ball State. Let's get to my 5-pack in. Well, the look-ahead line, Charlie, we in sync here. This is a pick-em game to me. Memphis at home, where they have been tough. They were looking ahead last week, so this is where 8.5-point swing is too extreme, too drastic there. We were laying 3 last week. I would have taken the +3. I'm taking +5.5 now with the other team. Give me Memphis at home at the Liberty Bowl +5.5. Sandwich spot, I'd say so, even though Clemson's not as good. But Clemson was preseason top 5. Clemson beat SMU for their for the conference championship game last week. It was back in 2022, the last time Rhett Lashley has lost a regular season conference game in Dallas at SMU. Willie Fritz and the boys in Tulane beat them uptown 49-24 back in 2022. And then they host Miami next week. They didn't even play Clemson in Miami in the regular season last year. That contributed to that undefeated conference record. Wake Forest is much better than expected, 5-2. One loss to NC State was tied going to the fourth quarter. Other loss against undefeated Georgia Tech, where they went for 2 in the first overtime and came up short in that one. Wake Forest +3 against Sandwich Spot for SMU. Sandwich Spot here for the Iowa State opponent as well. So Iowa State getting the BYU Cougars at home after the Holy War. BYU is undefeated. They're on their top 10, but they are overrated. Their power rating is about 21 to 26 in that range. So give me the Cyclones and Matt Campbell at home here, short number, -2.5. BYU in a letdown spot after an emotional win against Utah. Pittsburgh, in their young quarterback, the true freshman, Heinzman, they are 3-0 straight up since he's taken over. They are 3-0 against the spread. So, should take care of NC State. NC State, C.J. Bailey had his worst game of the year in that loss to Notre Dame. His 3 interceptions as they found a way to not cover in that one. Now they go to Pitt here, where the Pitt Panthers are less than a touchdown favorite. Bye week. Dorn has been very good off the bye week. We're playing Pittsburgh, who's playing their 5th straight game, and they are banged up. 3 interceptions for the freshman the last 2 games as well. Maybe settling in a little bit, maybe getting a little bit of a read on him for opponents. NC State, a tricky spot here for Pittsburgh, moneyline alert as well. And then Cincinnati, -3.5 at home. We talked about that in our college football notes yesterday, Charlie. Blake Sorsby, since he threw that interception, and they were up against the clock, he had to throw it downfield at some point in that game against Arrowhead, that neutral site game at Arrowhead. That's the last interception he's thrown. He's thrown 17 touchdowns since, no interceptions. He also has over 300 yards passing and 6 TDs with his legs. He is playing at a very high level. In Baylor, this is 2 years in a row. They are bad on defense. A very respected coach on the defensive side with Dave Aranda. Not this year. Cincinnati -3.5. Memphis, Wake Forest, Iowa State, NC State, and Cincinnati. My 5-pack.
Cincinnati +700 to win the Big 12. There are worse bets out there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's my +300 on Utah, too. I'm sorry, Texas Tech is no more cushion now for the Red Raiders. Moving forward, we'll see about that. So, hey, don't forget our friends at Town Square Pizza. Also, you staying downtown for the game tomorrow night. Hey, man, with less than a 5-minute walk from all the major hotels downtown is Town Square Pizza. Fresh, piping hot, generous portions, affordable. It's a great little spot. Go check out where all the fuss is about. Town Square Pizza, facing Town Square.
Live at Ruffino's Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's Lock Lock of the Week Friday, presented by Tex Morris of Edward Jones Investments. Now, back to Live at Lunch from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Wrap it up with our consensus picks. You heard Max, Bruce, myself, Charlie's picks in Chris Macero earlier this week. Wes Reynolds taking Kentucky plus the points. Iowa State money line. Houston plus 7.5 in Wake Forest plus 3. So he's all of his 4 picks are duplicate picks from any of us that gave out our picks today. Matt Humans yesterday, Iowa State minus 2.5, Vandy minus 2.5, Texas minus a point. So he's up against it a little bit of Texas at Mississippi State. Michigan State plus 14.5, Minnesota and Northwestern. Brian Edwards, after a 4-0 week last week from VegasInsider.com, via 30A, he's got Arkansas. That's up to 2.5 now. Went from 1 to 2.5. Vanderbilt, Alabama first half, in Miami of Ohio. Our consensus picks brought to you by Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime. And if you miss the show, you can listen on demand.
1045ESPN.com, LouisianaSports.net, brought to you by Supreme Rice.
Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Sunday, we will be Football Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon. We'll originate. Everybody did great, but me and you, is that right?
Probably, yeah.
I was. No, you did good. No, this week. Yeah. Week to week, Charlie.
Yes.
So is this a down?
3-0, 0-3, 3-0. So fade me Sunday.
Live from Caesars Sportsbook. If you're going down to the Saints in Tampa Bay, come by and see us. We're set up on the riser right next to the bank of kiosks that they have in the sportsbook at Caesars in New Orleans. What time you guys getting started tomorrow, John?
1:45 for the 6:47 kickoff, I believe it is. We will be at Rouse's at 1:45 for 3 hours leading into network pregame.
I send you my grocery list?
Yeah, sure. You can send it if you feel like. And then 90 minutes following the game. Monday, we are at Chris's Specialty Foods right across the street from where we are now. Birthday boy has the day off, but don't worry, I'll be there, and we'll recap a big weekend in college and the NFL. For Jordan back in the studio,
pushing all the right buttons.
I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you, good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.